Hey folks, this is Dave Wood. I'm going to actually make sure everybody can hear me all right, so I got to go to the page here. Actually, if Travis or Rob, if you could send me a text and just let me know if you're here, that'd be awesome. Let me know if you can hear me. Hold on just a second, folks. Hey, what's up, man? I just went live, guys. I'm waiting for a message from these guys letting me know that we're hearing you live.
Right on.
I should probably just go to the page. Hold on a second. I don't know if they're on it. Let's see, empowernetwork.com/live. These ones are always the funnest. All right, so we've got it. Okay, cool. You guys can hear us.
What's going on, Justin?
Good to see you, man. You know, I always love seeing Justin because I mean, he calls himself the hippie Jedi. You know, and he really is like a Jedi. He's got magical powers. You know, my favorite thing I ever saw, and I saw this, and I just said, don't we have something special? Is I went to I got this email from Justin Berengi, and I can't remember what it said, but it said something like, "I will give you a lightsaber," right? And I was like, what the hell is it? Right? So I go to the email, and I click on the email. I watched this video, and it's like this 12-minute video of literally talking about nothing except for if you join and make a certain amount of money, he's going to give you a lightsaber that's like a real lightsaber. And he was like that. And I was watching it, and I was like, what company in the world would have a guy like this who's like in their top 5 earners or whatever, literally having months where he's over 6 figures, multiple of them. And where does that happen? And I was watching it, and I was saying, this is so badass, it's unreal. So Justin, man, I just love having you on stuff. I need to have you on more stuff. Congratulations, by the way. I know you're having a kid here soon. You guys are you guys are a little over 8 months, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
How you doing, Dave?
Good.
Oh, you got it. Hey, Justin, just for a minute, can you get up and just wave that shit around just like it's nobody's business just for a minute?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Oh, I'm
Hello, D. How you doing, girl?
Really great. It's coming along.
Oh, holy smokes.
Yeah. Are you guys in Miami?
Very close.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be she's going to go into labor when Justin's on stage doing spin kicks again.
Oh, man.
Well, hey, so Justin, just for 1 second, can you grab that lightsaber and just go freaking berserk for everyone?
I can't because there's not enough room where I am. I would be hitting things and breaking everything, but I can just turn it on for you guys.
Just like swing it and be like, if you make money, I will give you a lightsaber or something like that.
Yeah, to get in our Jedi Leadership Council, you got to earn $20,000 and you have one of these. Yeah.
Dude, Eric, you got to see that video, man. It's like the most classic shit ever.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of Justin's videos lately that are pretty badass at just bringing it all together into one universe, man. Love it.
So, guys, we're here, and I was waiting just for these guys to get on, make sure that we were live, and we always like to just be, we like to be relaxed. That's the cool thing about Empower Network is I believe that people enjoy, that they have fun being around other people that are real, right? I believe that. I believe that when you get around people that are real and you see people that are like you, not that they're like you, I mean, I'm not like anybody. I mean, let's just be honest here. We're all different and stuff. But when you get around people that they're willing to say what they want and build a life like they want and being able to go out there into the marketplace and create a lifestyle, not that somebody else tells them to create, but to be able to create the lifestyle that they desire based on their own rules, it really is something special. I look at Empower Network, and here's what's special to me, right, when I look in this company. It's not that we have success. Every company out there's got 1 or 2 guys that's like they're like the lord of the organization, you know what I mean? It's like, we've got this guy, and this guy is just, creating the life that we're all imagining, and there's one of them. Well, the one guy has like thousands of people in his team that have personalities exactly like them. You know, they dress the same, they look the same, they talk about the same stuff. And that's how most organizations in this industry really look, if you're honest. Well, in this company, we'll have a hippie who just, I mean, just look at him. You know what I mean? And then right after him, we'll have a Christian pastor on stage who's talking about how, you know, he built his organization. Right after him, we have one of the most snooty atheists you've ever met in your life, right after the Christian pastor. And right after him, you'll have somebody that looked like me. Then right after him, you'll have Aaron Rashkin, right? Then right after them, you'll have like a hot young black girl, right? And then right after them, you'll have somebody like Rob Ford, who's middle-aged. And you look at it and you say, holy smokes, this is the most diverse group of success that I've ever seen in my life. And let's be honest, when I look at Empower Network, I see the most diverse group of people that are cranking out success that I've ever seen in anything. And I just wanted to actually congratulate all of you who are watching this on being a part of that. Because I'm telling you something, what we have here is just really special. It really is special.
We got Jedis, we got aliens, we got superheroes. You don't get that in like some suit and tie MLM, you know, wear a tie till you choke.
Yeah.
Everybody gotta be a robot. They gotta be exact. I lived that life for a long time, Dave. You know, I saw you in your suit. I saw a picture of you in your little like purple metallic suit back in like 1999 or something.
You ever see that old video I put up where I'm doing an opportunity meeting in a hotel and I recorded it back in like 2007?
I saw you with short curly hair in a suit. It was one of the best pictures I've ever seen.
Actually, I'm more hyperactive than ever. I mean, just like you know, I gotta send you that video, Aaron, because it's like this vitamin deal, and I recorded the whole thing with. I had my friend come who had like a movie camera at the time, and I'm just hyperactive and jumping all over the place, drawing circles on the whiteboard, and you're kind of like scared and nervous at the same time as you want to buy while you're watching it.
It's classic, man.
Well, guys, let's do this. Okay, so we've got people, on here, and we've been kind of waiting for people to pile on. A couple things that I want everybody here to do as you're watching. Okay, if you're watching this and you're in the comments, I want you to make sure if you're an affiliate of Empower Network that you send an email out to your list if you haven't done it already. That has a link to this. You can actually add !ID equals username to the end of the link that you see at the top of the page. And as long as you do that, all of the sales. The people that join, anybody that decides to do anything is going to track back to you. Also, if you want to share a link to this Hangout on Facebook, we know that EmpowerNetwork.com has been blocked on Facebook for like a year. And so if you go over to badasscontent.com, it's badasscontent.com, you can take this link and mask it, and you can actually use that to share it on Facebook. And just as we're talking, make sure to be posting links on Facebook, send an email out to your list, let people know that we're live. Tonight we want to be talking about something a little bit different, and we want to share some things with you. We want to talk to you about the most important things to focus on in your business in 2014. You know, one of the things that happens when a new year starts is we all go out and we make goals and resolutions. We say, this is how this year is going to be different. We have people come from all over the world and they say, this is the year that I'm going to make it. This is the year that I'm going to break through. This is the year that I'm going to do what Justin Berengia did last year. You know, we all set these big fancy goals, and what happens is because you don't know where to focus your energy, because you don't know where to focus your attention, you don't get the results that you want, and most people really forget about their New Year's resolutions 2 or 3 weeks into the year, and it's a sad thing because by the end of the next year, their life is exactly the same as it was the previous year. Here's my question for you before we start today. My question for you is if you continue to do what you've been doing for the last year, what is your life going to look like at the end of 2014? And be honest with yourself. If you continue to make the decisions you've been making, if you continue to build the business you've been building in the way you've been building it, if you continue along the same path that you've been on for the last 12 months, where are you going to be in 12 months? The sad truth that for most of you on here is the answer is you are going to be in 12 months exactly where you are today if you don't change. Exactly. So the question is, do you like that? Now for me, I like that. I don't mind it. I mean, I would rather be in a bigger place in 12 months, but the way that where I am right now, it's actually not so bad. And if I continue doing what I was doing for the last year, I'll actually be like double of where I am now, which is actually pretty attractive to me. It's a pretty cool place to be. For a lot of you, though, because of the decisions you've made, because of the people you've associated with, and because of the path you've been going down, you're going to wind up in a place if you don't change, and I mean right now. Guys, it takes 90 days to turn your life around. It takes 90 days, right? That's all that it takes. You want to know how long it takes to really build a big organization? It takes 90 days. Now, it might take some work after that to make it grow bigger, right? It might take some work after that to hold it together in a particular way. It might take some work after that to learn what to do next. But you want to know how long it takes to turn your life around? It takes 3 months. That's how long it takes. I've seen it again and again and again and again of people completely creating the most transformational experiences you've ever heard of in 90 days. I saw Justin Berengia do it. Justin, what happened to your income between June of 2012 and September at our next event? What happened?
It went insane. I don't know exactly because I am a hippie and I forget with like the amounts, but it just kept going up. It just kept going up, man. I know what happened prior to my first event. I never made more than $5,000 inside Empower Network in a month. I think my best month was like $4,000. And then I went to an event and decided to do something different. I decided to really stretch myself because you challenged me to. I'll just be be blunt about it. You told me to get to the event, and if I was serious about my business, I would be there. And at first, I almost did not go. I didn't make that decision until the last week before our event, which was in Atlanta in June of 2012. And all of a sudden, I have Tony Rush and listening to Tracy Walker and remarkable leaders in the end, and they all said the same message that you were sharing, which was to get to the event and to do whatever it takes. So even though I wasn't in a cush position to, fly from Costa Rica down to Atlanta, I decided to stretch because I wanted to grow, and I realized if I continued to do the same thing for the next 12 months, I would be in the exact same place. So I go to the event, and my income jumps up from $4,000 to $26,000 in 30 days. And then after that, over $30,000 a month. I don't think I've made less than 30 grand since that time in a 1 month period. Results not typical, they're hippie Jedi results, but it's possible. And I think that's the big takeaway here, is that it's possible for you too, regardless of where you are in your life right now. Transformations happen fast. Transformations happen in an instant, and it's just a decision to decide to change. A decision to decide to grow and maybe listen to people who have been where you are that can relate to the situation that you're in, because we've all been there, right? And we all know what we did to get through and experience a breakthrough. Now we get to share that with you, and I'm pumped up because now we have thousands of people going to our events every 3 months, and we get to take our biggest breakaways, takeaways and breakthroughs and really share that with the people, which is our mission. That's why we're the Empower Network. So just super pumped up to share the inspiration and let people know, regardless how dark it may seem right now, the light will always penetrate the darkness, and that at the end of every dark tunnel there's going to be light. So just keep that spark of divinity inside your brain, and recondition your mindset. Rashkin and Wood and Vic and Tam and Chris Record, these amazing leaders, really giving us the gold nuggets, learning about pre-framing. These are some of the biggest things that I applied into my personal business along with my wife to be able to produce some of the results we have, like when we're shooting video, the way to pre-frame my thoughts so that can connect with the audience, to be able to pre-frame my blog posts, to be able to pre-frame my stories and the information, because we all have an incredible story. It's just a lot of times we're not confident in ourselves, and a lot of times we don't know how to communicate. So these are one of the skill sets you're going to get really good at by really plugging into the products. And of course, I recommend to get all in. If you want to be serious, about your business, you need to get all in. And the reason for that, I don't like to say thou shalt have to do anything because it violates free will, but there's a point, where a hobby becomes a business, and if you want to treat it like a real business and get paid what you're worth, to the marketplace, you need to increase your ante, just level up. You know, in Dragon Ball, they used to say turn Super Saiyan, and you know, this is your time to do that right at the time of an event. Because I remember going to my first event, we brought 5 people with us, right? Personally sponsored by us. Last minute, they got there. That's when everything transformed, and that's really the birth of our team and how everything started. We rode the momentum of the event. We used that time to position ourselves. Another reason you need to get to the event is you want to position yourself as a leader. See, a lot of people have problems where nobody wants to join them. Why? Well, the biggest thing I realize is positioning. You're not giving people a reason to want to join you. They want to join Aaron Rashkin because they see photos and videos of him at every event, and they want to work with serious people. They want to get in business with real, you know, serious entrepreneurs. So one of the things that I did to take advantage of our event, I made it a point to shoot over 100 videos. I made it a point to take pictures with David Wood, even if I sounded like a weenie asking him for a photo. You know, I had to outgrow myself. Actually, I'm sorry, I was a weenie. Dee went up to David Wood and asked for a photo together, you know, with Justin. And I'm grateful to bring my wife to an event because being introverted growing up, I am not the type of person to walk up to a stranger and say hello. People come to me. And then, you know, my wife can bring people to me. But that's another thing we need to talk about a little bit about tonight. And I know I'm ranting a little, but bring your spouse to an event. The reason is, before I brought my wife to the event, she was still kind of skeptical about this home-based business thing. Is this thing for real? How long is it going to last? You know, are they all about the money? You know, what's the heart? What's the passion behind the company? What's the purpose? But when we got there, and I was going to say I shit you not, but I didn't want to drop the S-bomb. When we got there, we were sitting in the very back because my wife was kind of doing one of these videos. And long story short, by 3 days later, by the end of the event, she was at the very front sitting on the floor because there was no room in the front just to absorb the information because she had transformation after breakthrough, after transformation. And all of a sudden, we stretched. And this is something I believe to be true. Once your mind stretches, once your imagination stretches, and once your heart stretches, you're never the same person again. You can never go back to being the other way. And that's really the essence of our breakthrough at, you know, our first Empower Network event. We realized it's possible to earn $30,000 a month. You know, prior, we thought it was impossible because we struggled to make $5,000 literally for 5 years. Then all of a sudden we see so many people succeeding, we see so many people speaking life into us that we say, we can do it. We make a decision, transformation, 30 days later, our life hasn't been the same. And I remind you how far you can come in a year. I'm just going to take you back to 2010, 2011, living in China, teaching English full-time for $1,200 a month, working from like actually, I was working at one point for about 6 months of this 13-month period. I was working 2 jobs, getting up at about 6 a.m. and going to a middle school to teach English for about 5 hours, and then getting home and just eating lunch, and then going to my second full-time job, teaching at this private school. And even though it was a great experience to be able to teach and absorb a new culture, I was beaten down mentally, I was beaten down physically, my energy was drained, and I was working full-time, harder than I ever worked before in my life, for $1,200 a month. 3 years ago, $1,200 a month. You know, to having our best day here, I believe it was 48 grand in one day because we have a dream and we have a vision. And now our dream and vision is expand, and we just want to lock arms with as many people of love and light, vibration and consciousness that there are out there, because I do believe that what Gandhi preached, you know, become the change you want to see in this world. The Empower Network is an opportunity to step up as a leader for humanity and lead your people, right? Inspire your people, empower your people. But that empowerment all starts with thyself. And that's the importance of really plugging into what we're doing here.
Just so you know, we're getting some feedback whenever you're talking. I think it was from my microphone, so I muted it out, and it seemed to go away. Guys, tonight we're going to talk about a handful of things, and that was a great introduction, by the way. First thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about, really, I'm just going to be honest with you, getting to the event in Miami and why you guys need to go. We're going to talk about that for a lot of the night because I want to talk to you guys about positioning yourself in 2014 and really how to take advantage of what we're doing. And you're not going to be able to do that if you don't go. I also wanted to make an announcement that we'll talk about kind of through this, that the High Ticket Academy product is going to be increasing in price at midnight Eastern time, which I believe is in 2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours from now, High Ticket Academy is going to go from $197 to $297, and never again, at any point in our existence ever, will that product again decrease to $197. And so below the video, you're seeing two links. Okay, number one, you see Activate High Ticket Academy, and number two, you see Private Member Discount. Activate High Ticket Academy, it's a members-only link. If you click on there, you'll be taken to a page to log in. If you're not logged in, you can log in. You can buy High Ticket Academy now for only $197. I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. The private member discount link on the right, I'm going to talk about why, and I'm going to talk about how kind of through the course of this. But we have a discount for event tickets that's going on tonight. I want you guys to make sure to lock in your tickets and do that because we are almost sold out of the event. Hold on just a second. Let me just grab the code. The code is GROW2014, capital G, lowercase ROW 2014. If somebody could write that into the comments, that would be great. If you guys really are serious about changing 2014, you need to get to the event in Miami. We're going to talk about both things tonight. I promise you this is going to be some of the most transformational information that you've ever heard if you just stick around and pay attention. I'm going to draw some things out on the whiteboard about strategies that you can incorporate into your business this year. But more importantly, what we wanted to do was we wanted to talk to you about really what I believe is the most important key in growing your organization, not just fast, but also long term. And that is the power of events and what happens at them, the culture that's created from them, what happens to you, what happens to your team. And in addition to talking about the power of the events, we're going to talk about how the event in Miami is strategically and specifically different from any event that we've ever done before. We realized just earlier today that we haven't really given people specifics about what to expect in Miami, so we want to talk tonight about what to expect. But before we do that, I've got to go back in time. And I want to talk to you about when I got started in network marketing and as an experience that I had that transformed my life. I got started in this industry in a company that, if I said the name, you'd all know, rhymes with Ramway, but I'm not giving any more clues than that. At the time I was involved in the company was doing like $8 or $10 billion a year in sales. I got in, and this is basically what happened. I called my upline. And I said, these are my goals, this is what I want to do, what do I do next? And I had a pen and I had a piece of paper out, okay, because I've always been a fan of taking notes. I mean, I've got like hundreds of these notebooks lying around my house with not journals, but notes and goals, right, and strategic plans that I've made over the last 4 years. I asked him, what do I do to start? And this is what he told me. He said, well, first, Dave, you got to make a list of your family and friends. Second, you got to invite them over to your house to a meeting, right? Some of us have heard that advice. Aaron Rashkin's built an organization like that. And so what I did was I pulled out a pen and a piece of paper, and then I started to write down the list of my family and friends, and I realized when I started writing the list that there was no possible way to invite them all to a meeting, and the reason was because I'd just been a missionary for 2 years in the UK. I just moved back from the States, and when I moved back to the States, instead of moving back to Alaska, where I'm from, I moved to Arizona. And so I was thousands of miles away from everybody that I knew, and I only knew one guy in the town that I was living in, which was Glendale, Arizona. I knew one person, and the person who I knew was my brother Will, and Will was my sponsor in Amway, right? I said the name of the company, there we go, right? So the only person I could invite over to my house for a meeting was my brother, and my brother was already in, right? So I looked at my list, and it had my brother on it, was the only one that I could invite, and I called back my upline, and I said, all right, Dennis, you got to give me a little bit different advice here because this ain't working. I got one guy, he's already in, and he said, all right, what's the problem? And I said, well, my family's scattered all over, this, yada, 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 right? And this is what he told me. He said, David, you've got to meet new friends. You got to meet new people. You got to get out there and prospect. I said, how do I do that? And he told me to buy this audio cassette tape called Prospecting in the 21st Century. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard this. And this story's all going somewhere, by the way. I buy this audio cassette tape called Prospecting in the 21st Century, which, by the way, is more like Prospecting in 1822 is what it should be called. Because basically what the audio said is it had like 50 lines to memorize, right? And basically you'd memorize the lines, walk around in a suit and tie, and when you ran into people, you'd give them the line, right? And the lines were something like this. I'd run into Tracy Walker, and I'd say, hey, you seem like a sharp person. And I'd wait for a second, and she'd say, well, thanks, you know, or she'd like kind of look at me like this, like, oh, no, you can't, right? But if she looked at me and she was like, well, thank you, I'd say, let me ask you a question. You keep your business options open? And if she said, well, yeah, which most of the time people do, you were supposed to say something, well, like, I'm expanding a business in this town, and I'm looking for some sharp people. I just happen to run into you. I'm actually on the run right now. But if you got a business card, I'll go ahead and jot down your information and give you a call. I'm looking for some people to connect with in the area to expand my company, and maybe we could help each other out. And then if she didn't have a card, I'd say, well, I've got one. Here, let me write my information. Let me give you one, and also let me write down your number on the other side of the other one. And then I'd write their number down on the card and kind of collect business cards as I went around town. And that's how I got started building my business back in 2002. Well, a couple of months later, after building my business, I was struggling. I hadn't sponsored a single person. And a guy was flying into town, and my brother told me about him, said, this dude is flying in on a private jet. I said, a private jet? No way, right? I was thinking about like trying to afford like the gas on my $400 Ford. It was a car. I can't even remember the name of those little itty-bitty tiny Ford cars that barely start. But I had one of them, and I was driving it around and didn't have insurance on it in Phoenix, Arizona. I was just hoping the cops never pulled me over. And I was driving this thing around. I was like, a private jet? You're kidding me. I got to go see this guy. And I go to this hotel meeting, and this guy named Brad gets up and rants and raves for 3 hours, and this guy was money. You know when you meet somebody and they could do things that you could never do, right? This is one of those guys, right? So he'd flown into this meeting on a private jet, and the meeting wasn't something he was paid for. It was like a $10 to attend meeting, and there was like 1,000 people there, right? And the jet cost $8,000 in fuel to fly from Montana to Phoenix, Arizona. And the only reason he took his jet down to the meeting was so he could go back that evening after the meeting was over and hang out with his wife because they had like a late night dinner date. And I was listening to this guy talk and rant and rave. I was like, you're kidding me. The things he was talking about that he was able to do, the places he's able to travel, the people he was able to impact, I was blown away, right? Well, he got done talking and then kind of went out into the hallway, and then people just kind of like surrounded him, right? Like he was some sort of guru or something like that. So, of course, like all the other people standing around, I just kind of stood around and listened to the guy for like 2 hours. Listened to him rant and rave. Well, we're sitting around here, and there's people kind of eventually fall off. They leave, or they got to get up to work the next morning, and so they leave, and this guy's just still sitting there talking like all night. I think he missed the dinner date. But he's sitting there talking. He's wearing a suit, and the suit is like this $5,000 thing. All right, or this $10,000 thing that he had. It was really sharp. And I was standing around, and then I kind of get closer and closer and closer and closer. And eventually, at 2 in the morning, I got close to this guy, right? And then eventually, I was the only person left. Because I just, I was like, I'm going to stand around until I get to talk to this guy and ask him how he did this. And this guy, he looked at me, and he said, looks like you're the only person left. And I said, well, here I am. I said, I wanted to ask you a question. And he said, sure. I said, I'm struggling, man. And right then, he looked at me in the eye and he said, David, cut it out, right? A little meaner than that. And I kind of like went like this because he looked so serious, and I was like, cut what out? He says, stop speaking negative trash into your life. Notice me, I don't talk like that, Dave. And I kind of like went like this, and I was a little bit scared. And he says, let me ask you something. You've sat here till 2 in the morning, so you got to be serious about this. You got to be serious about your future. Just like you guys on this webinar, you got to be serious about your future. And I said, I'm real serious, man. I'm hungry. I want to do this. And he said, I will tell you to do 2 things. And I will only tell you to do those 2 things if you promise me before I tell you what they are that you'll do them no matter what. Will you do them? If I promise you, if you do the 2 things that I tell you, that you will create a life that you can't imagine, right? And so I kind of look at him for a minute, and I think it's going to be horrible, right? But I still agree. I said, of course I'll do them, right? I want to live a life like you live. I want to be able to do the things that you do. And then he grabbed me. I was wearing a suit too back in the day. This is like in ancient times. He grabbed me by the suit and he pulled me into his face like this and he kind of stared me in the eye. And he says, I want you to promise me that number one, you're going to turn off your radio in your car, and from now on you will only listen to audios from people who have what you want to have. Turn your car into a drive time university. He says, because I know you drive a lot and I know you're broke. And I said, okay, that was an easy one, right? Which I've done now for over 10 years. The second thing he told me, though, was hard. He pulled me in, he glared at me right in the eye, right? And he said, I want you to promise me that from now on, you will go to every event, ever. Right? And there was an event coming up in like a month or 3 weeks or something like that. It was 2 weeks, right? And I was like, well, I'll go to all of them, but, and he says, he let go and he says, but what? And I said, well, this next one, he says, David, are you serious or are you not serious? I said, I'm serious. He says, then promise me from now on you will go to every event, ever. And I said, okay. Now I had to figure out how to get over to Long Beach, California 2 weeks later, right? And he said, if you do not buy your tickets tonight and figure out how to get there tonight, I will never talk to you again. And I don't care how much you call, and I don't care if I see you at other events. If you don't go to Long Beach, if you are not there, you're not in my business. Right? Now, he could talk to me like that because at one time he was broke like I was. See, when you don't take excuses from yourself, you can't take excuses for another human being. So you know what I did? I contacted some people in the business. I found out somebody I could kind of tag along with them in their car. I got in their car. I went out to Long Beach, California. I slept in a car for 3 days. And here's what he promised me, right, in that conversation. He said, if you will do those 2 things, and you'll never deviate from those, you will not know the life you'll have in 10 years from the day that you start doing those 2 things. Right? 10 years later, I'm standing on a stage, and I'm in California again. Okay? And I can't even remember where the hell we did the Fight the Forces of Evil event, the shirt that I'm wearing now. But 10 years later, I'm standing on stage at this event, and there's 3,000 people in the room. And I'm looking out on the stage of 3,000 people, realizing that not only did what he say happened, I'm realizing that I couldn't have known the life that I have now had somebody put a picture of it in my face 10 years before. I couldn't have imagined it. It's so good. And I thought back over the last 10 years, and I thought back to that conversation, and I said, I am glad that I made a decision that I'm going to do it no matter what. See, we've got this event coming up here, and a lot of you guys, in the last week, I want to ask a question here, and then I'm going to pass the ball around, pass the cord around here a little bit, hear people's stories. Here's what I want to ask you guys who are in the chat. What I want to ask you is, if you have made money doing what I tell you to do, if you have listened to what I've told you to do, and you've made money, I want you to tell me in the chat. If you guys have listened to what I've told you to do, and because you've listened to what I've told you to do, you've made money, I want you to tell me yes in the chat, and then wait a minute while people are starting to pile up. And I want you to tell me the success that you've had, how fast it's happened and tell other people in the chat. In other words, if you have listened to something that I've said, and because of there, you have made decisions and you have been able to create an income from what I've told you to do, I want you to type yes, and I want you to talk to me about it in the chat and just tell me what you've been able to do. And I'm going to wait. I've made 10,000 in the last week. Joe Chance. I don't even know if we've ever talked to Joe. I know a bunch of Joes, but Joe, he's made 10,000 in the last week. right? If you've made money doing what we say to do, Joe, you'll be all over Miami. I know you'll be there. You've made money by listening wrong, right? Yes, you've made money. Bobby, you've made money. Yes, you've made money. If you have listened to what we've told you to do, just a bit under $1 million, Aaron Rashkin. I've made money. Yes, made money. I've listened to what you told us to do and now paying my mortgage, right? Yes, you've made money. Who else has made money by doing what we've told you to do? Somebody else said 30,000, 2 weeks. Made money because I listened to you. Otherwise, wouldn't be wasting my time. Yes, congrats on 30K. Who else has made money doing what I've said to do? If you've made money in the last 7 days, Bo Bridgewater, good to see you, brother. Yeah. If you've made money in the last week just from the launch of High Ticket Academy, I want you to tell me that you've made money, earned over 20,000. Congratulations, Sean. Right? Greg, he said, I made my first 20,000. Somebody said over 14,000. Justin Berengi, I made over 8,000 from High Ticket Academy. Lynn Brown had a $1,400 day, right? Angela, you said you've had an $1,100 day last month. Victor Grant, bottom leg, I paid my mortgage with what I earned in the 15K formula and was able to generate a $100,000 balloon payment. I don't even know what the hell that is. But actually, I do know what that is. I used to be in mortgages. Holy crap. Yes, over $395,000 in 21 months. Congratulations, Christine Luna. She was crippled when she got involved here, and luckily isn't now, thanks to some medical advancements. Katie, yes, over 5,000 my first 5 months, and she's a newbie, right? Yes, Agnes, I've made money recently, got my daughter's boyfriend in recently, right? 45 days, $200,000 total newbie to the industry. Who is that? I don't know who that is. $12,000 day. $1,625 a day, $1,000 in a day. Guys, I want you to look at the comments on the page, and there are people here who have made decisions, and because of those decisions and because they've decided to listen, right? Christina, over 7,000 in the past week. Somebody else said next month it went from 0 to 4,800. Make money. You've made money. Now, is that guaranteeing you guys will make money? No. It's pointing something out. What it's pointing out is that there are people on this chat, on this page right now, who by listening to what we've told them to do and by applying it in their business and their life, they have made money. Here's what I'm going to tell you guys that's next, and then I'm going to pass the ball around. I am going to tell you right now, with all of the conviction that exists in a human being, that you need to get your butt to Miami. I don't care if you're in Germany and you just joined. I don't care if you're in the UK. I don't care if you can't figure out how to go. You need to get access to event tickets right now, and you need to get to Miami. Because this last week has been a big deal. You know, we came out, we launched High Ticket Academy, and in the last 5 days, I think, or 4 days, we have had over 4,000 people buy that product. That product is feeding into an announcement that is a series of announcements that are going to be made in Miami, and if you don't go and you're not there, you are going to be missing out on massive advancements in your business, and I am telling you right now to click the button that says private member discount right now and to use the code GROW2014, I believe is the code. Somebody could write it in the comments. I'm going to check again to confirm. GROW2014, I want you to get that code, click on private member discount if you're a member of Empower Network, and if you're not in, go back to the email of the person who invited you here and join and get in. Go to that link right now, and I want you to buy tickets for you and your spouse and figure out how to get to Miami. $117,000 in 9 months. High Ticket Academy, $1,200. Also made $8,000 with High Ticket Academy. Over $5,000 just due to High Ticket Academy. Folks, I don't even know how these people are. What I want to point out is that there are people here who have made life-changing decisions because of those decisions. They've had financial breakthroughs by applying the information that we teach. I want you guys to make a decision to get to Miami. Click on private member discount and buy your tickets now. And while we're doing that, let's just kind of pass the ball around and hear some event stories. Aaron, I think you said you can't be on the whole night, so why don't we pass it over to you? I just want to hear the story about events and how they've transformed your life. While we're doing this, and I'm going to look up the discount code, get myself out while you're talking, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, great stuff. And, just so excited to be here again. I know I was, we were on a Hangout last night, but this is a totally different conversation. We're not teaching how to close high-ticket sales here. We're talking about making a simple decision that changed my life. I'll tell you the quick story. I got into a company back in 1997, right? I always go back to the 90s because that's who I am, I was born and raised in the 70s and got my feet, in the 80s and got my business experience in the 90s. And it was 1997. I just got into a company, and there was a live event coming up at the end of the week. I got in on like a Tuesday, or I think it was a Tuesday. I got in on a Tuesday, and there was an event in Dallas, Texas. Now, I lived in San Diego, California. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment, and I got on board with this group of guys, and they were very quick to get off the phone when I got started, and they said, hey, we'll see you on Friday night. And I thought, see you on Friday night? These people lived, like 300 miles away from me. And I said, what's going on Friday night? I thought maybe they were going to be in San Diego. They were going to be coming down to show me how to build my business, right? And they said, oh, no, we're all going to Dallas. So you need to get to Dallas. They just kind of expected that I would be there. They didn't even ask if I had money. They didn't ask me if, I was able to make reservations. They just said, we'll see you on Friday night. And I said, what's going on Friday night? I don't want to miss anything that's going on. We're going out for dinner. You're coming down here to show me how to build my business and how to make a lot of money. Well, it turned out that this event was on Friday night through Sunday. It was in Dallas, Texas. I had about $600 or $700 to my name. I had rent due. It was right at the end of the month, so I had rent due in the beginning of the month, which was in like 4 or 5 days, right after the weekend. And I was a little bit short on rent, and I wasn't in a position to, go buy a plane ticket or get an event ticket. I had nowhere to sleep. These are the things that raced through my mind when I heard that there was a live event coming up at the end of the week. I started sweating. I started getting nervous. I started, really panicking almost. Here I was. I just put, about $1,500 on a credit card to get into this company, and they were going to teach me how to build a business, and I had to get to Dallas in a few days. 3 days I had to get to Dallas, and something my sponsor said changed my way of thinking. He said, he goes, if you don't go. Now, I brought all the stuff up to him. I started saying, well, I don't have the money, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. And my sponsor said, I really want to work with you, and I'd love to meet you there, but there's going to be so many people there on our team that if you're not there, you're going to miss everything. You're going to miss all the information. You're going to miss all the education. You're going to miss all the announcements. You're going to miss new product launch they were coming out with right around that time, an exciting new product. And I didn't want to miss. I hate being left out. I hate being left behind. I hate not getting all the information and missing what everybody else is getting, because I'm very competitive. And I don't want to be the last man to find out about stuff. And he said something else too. He said, he goes, not only won't I be able to work with you because you're going to be so far behind, and I'll be working with the people that are actually there because that means they're the most committed. He said, you're going to be the same person after the weekend as you were before the weekend if you don't go. He said, if you come to the event, you go home a completely different person, and that's the person that it takes for you to have the breakthroughs to success that you're looking for, because this is what the events are going to do for you. He said the events change lives, and then once your life starts changing, then your business starts changing. And I was extremely new to the business. I was very young. I was very impressionable, but it all made sense to me because I was hungry for success. I wanted it so bad, and I was up early in the morning. I was staying up late at night. I was obsessed with changing my situation. I did not want to live one more year in debt, in fear, in pain. I was in a lot of pain, not physical pain. I was in an emotional pain. I was in a mental place where I just was dissatisfied. I could be happy, right? There's nothing wrong with being content and happy, right? I always had I had a smile on my face, but I was never satisfied. And to me, that's feeling pain, because I was uncomfortable where I was in life. I was behind in my bills. I was behind in my rent. I was behind in my relationships. I was behind in my development as a business person, as a young man, as a leader. None of this stuff was really that it was not that far away, but I was not yet anywhere near where I had to be making that $10,000 a month income that I was craving. And I was so hungry for it that I went to my girlfriend at the time. I was dating a girl. I had a couple of friends in the area. I was new to San Diego. I didn't know a lot of people. I knew some of the guys from the gym, and I knew some of the trainers there and stuff like that. And I had been in network marketing, but I wasn't going to go ask for money from my downline, people that were on my team in the other company that I was just leaving. So I did what any big successful leader would do. I quit making excuses, and I found a way to come up with the money. Here's what I did. I took every one of my CDs that I had. I collected CDs in college, right? I had hundreds of CDs. And although I didn't want to do it, I had to. What I wanted more than I wanted my CDs was I wanted to be successful. So I went and sold my CDs to CD Trader. It was a record and CD trader, downtown in Pacific Beach, San Diego. If some of you are from that area, right? CD and record trader is right on Garnett Avenue, and that was where you can go and bring all your CDs. And I got like $2 a CD, and I only brought 100 or 120 of my CDs. So, I picked out the ones I wanted to keep the most, and I brought the ones that I barely listened to anymore, and I got a couple $100 for my CDs. Then I went through my clothes. I went through my closet, and I picked out all the stuff that I hadn't worn in about 6 months. Old jeans, old shirts, old shoes, old jackets. I found old stuff that I was really just, I was like stowing it away like I was going to be shipwrecked or something. Okay, there's no need for that crap. You have to just learn how to get rid of it. It's like 95% of getting what you want is knowing what you have to give up to get it, right? So I went through all my old crap, and I sorted it out. It's kind of like when you go through your mailbox and you sort out open now and then the junk mail, right? So I went through my closet, I picked out all this crap. I brought it over to this little store called the Buffalo Exchange, and I got myself another $100 and some odd. So now I'm up 300 and, I don't know, 30 or 50 bucks or something like that. And I went to my girlfriend and I said, listen, I have to borrow some money from you. She had a full-time job. She wasn't chasing her dreams and goals like I was. She was supporting, my eating habits and, some of my rent money. She was helping me out. But I went to her and said, I just got to borrow a couple $100. I never asked you for money. I promise one day I will pay you back. And she was glad to give it to me. I didn't have to pay her back. She was like, just take the money, Because people love you. People want to see you succeed. There's nothing wrong with going to your relative and saying, hey, can I borrow a couple $100? And if your relative, loves you, they'll probably give it to you, right? If they want to see you succeed. Now, a lot of our relatives, wouldn't lend us the money because they don't have it. But go ask somebody who's successful. They know what it's like to, want to start a business. They know what it's like to be hungry. They know what it's like to be inspired by other people's success and want to go to personal development and training and education seminars to meet people who have already achieved high levels of success. They're already successful. So you don't go to the broke people and ask for money. You don't go to the people that are struggling, in life. You go to the people that have already made the breakthroughs because they'll appreciate. And I want to share a quick story real quick. One of the reasons that I go to events, and I don't know where Justin and Dee are. Where are you guys? I see a little picture of you, but where are you two? You guys in this video or what? In June of 2012 in Atlanta, one of the reasons I go to events is to spot talent. You know that? I go to events, Dave, and Tracy, and Justin and Dee, I go to events, and everybody watching, I go to events to spot talent. And you know what that means? It means that these are the people that I see greatness in. And back in Atlanta in June of 2012, it was Empower Network's very first event, and Sophia and I went to the event. I think we only had one team member there. And we had already, made tens of thousands of dollars, really, in the business. And, we didn't even have a team. We didn't pick up the phone for almost 9 months to talk to anybody on our team. We were doing this all online, part-time, and without picking up the phone. And we got our check to over $30,000. But anyway, June of 2012, we walk into that Atlanta event, and there was a leadership meeting before the event. And I see this, kind of shy guy, right, long-haired hippie shy guy, and then I see this beautiful black girl, and I'm like, well, that's an interesting couple right there, right? And I looked at Sophia. I gave Sophia a little nudge. I was like, hey, look at this cute little couple over here, you know. Anyway, they were like kind of clinging to each other, and they were holding hands or hugging or something. And I walked over and I introduced myself, and Justin was like, he was. Do you remember this, Justin?
Yes, very much, man. These brings back such great memories, man. Dude, that's why I love events, dude. But yeah.
Yeah, I just remember I walked up to Justin and I could just tell I don't know, there was some quiet, quiet intensity about him. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't see the lightsaber, and I didn't even really recognize, the aura around him. All I could tell you is that I saw that this kid had the eye of the tiger. I'm going to use a little Rocky quote, but man, I just felt this energy from him, and I was like, I don't know what it is about this kid, but I got to connect with him, because someday, somehow, some way, I'm going to be learning from him, right? So I walked over to him and I said, hey man, I'm like, how's it going? And Justin's not real outwardly expressive, and certainly not then, more now so than ever, but he was just kind of like, yeah, how you doing? Just really quiet, Justin-like, and and it kind of drew me in, and I was like, hey, I'm like, where are you from? And he said, oh, we live in Costa Rica. And I could just detect this deep, very deep beneath this little shy personality. I could just tell there was some kind of lion caged up in there. And I said, where are you from? Because I felt this energy. And he said, oh, I'm from Long Island, New York. I said, no shit. I said, where from? He said, Lake Ronkonkoma. I said, oh my God. I said, I'm from your town, just a few miles away. We actually lived within probably 3 or 4 miles of each other at one time.
Wow.
And, it was just amazing, because I didn't know anything about Justin and Dee, but I spotted that talent, and I knew that this was going to be a successful couple in the business. And I don't know what it was. I still can't explain it. And sometimes, to try to explain the unexplainable, it's not even worth attempting. But I go to events because I love to meet with my team, obviously, right? All the leadership on my team and all the leaders in the company, but I look for new talent because I love to learn from new people. And I'm never too big that I can't, bend down and reach down and pick somebody up and work with them and help them and give them support and some leadership. And, Justin's just a prime example. And I have so many great friends in this company who I'm not, a part of their team. I'm not a part of their sponsorship. I don't get paid one penny when they make money and when they do, make pass-up sales. But you know what? I know that when one person does well, it affects an entire company, right? And I want our company to be the biggest and the baddest and the best group of leaders and the richest online team to ever hit this earth. And this is why I'm so committed to this mission, and why my vision is in line with Dave's and Tracy's and Justin and Dee's and Vic's and Tony's and Jessica's, and I could just go on and talk about all these people, Chris Record and Lawrence Tam and just Chuck Marshall, and I could just sit here and talk. Mike Hobbs, we communicate on these Hangouts and on these calls every night and every week and every day. We communicate through our private leadership council Skype chat, and we're constantly working together to give you the best opportunity. And so I scraped together, about $350, $400. My girlfriend gave me a couple $100, so I had now about $500. And my sponsor was flying out in the morning, on Friday morning, from John Wayne Airport in Orange County, and I lived in San Diego. And I scraped the money up. I got it all together by Thursday afternoon. And I called him up and I said, Joe, I don't know if it's going to cost me more to get my ticket, but I'm just going to show up at the airport, and can I just go on the flight? Can I get on the flight with you guys? He said, well, let me call the airlines. Let me call the airlines, and we'll see if there's an extra flight or a seat on the flight. So I drove my car up to the airport, and my girlfriend drove with me, and then she drove it back to our apartment in San Diego. But she dropped me off at the airport. I had my bag, and my sponsor, Joe, and his wife, Hillary, weren't there yet. So I pulled up, I walked up to the the sky cap, right, outdoors, the outdoor guy that he hangs out on the curb. And he said, "How you doing?" He's like, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going to Dallas." He said, do you have a ticket?" And I didn't have one. I said, "No, I don't have one yet." He goes, "Well, don't." He's like, "Well, how are you going to get to Dallas?" I said, "Well, we're at the airport. Isn't this what I'm supposed to do here? I buy a ticket, right?" And he's like, "Well, you don't have a ticket? You're going to buy it right now?" I said, "Well, I have to. I don't have one." I said, "I'm waiting for somebody that I think bought me a ticket." I didn't even know if I had one yet. I packed a duffel bag, and I packed up a bunch of the protein powder that I was selling at the time so that I didn't have to get a job. Right? This is where I was in my life going back to 1997. This is 17 years ago. I was selling protein out of my one-bedroom apartment, and I was walking around talking to juice bars and smoothie shops and anyone that had a storefront where there would be patients or clients. Like I would go into chiropractic offices and massage therapist centers and those kinds of places, and I would walk in there with a jar of my protein that a buddy of mine that lived down at the beach where I did made a label for me. I actually had a 6-pack at the time, like I was shredded wheat, and I got a photo of myself and I put it on the label for this product, and nobody saw my face, they just saw my body. And I would go out and sell my product. And I was a living, breathing, walking, talking example of my product. And so I would go out and talk to people, and that's how I made money. And I got myself into a tremendous amount of debt, and I saw network marketing as a vehicle for me to change my life forever. So I showed up at this Sky Cap, and the guy's asking me for my ticket. I didn't have one, and finally I just sat on the side and waited to let other people go in front of me, and my sponsor showed up. Finally, he and his wife showed up at the United Terminal, and they had a ticket for me, and I forked over all my cash. I gave them $500 for my ticket. It was bought the day before, so it was actually a little bit more. It was like $700, and I gave them everything I had. I had no more money left, and I didn't tell them that. I just gave them everything I had, and I just was hungry. And I was nervous, and I was scared. And when we got to the hotel, when we got they paid for the shuttle when we got from the to the airport in Dallas to the hotel. When we got to the hotel, I just had my duffel bag, and I wore it like a backpack. I didn't have a backpack, but I wore a duffel bag. I had this long ass duffel bag, and it was filled with jeans and some undergarments, underwear, socks, and a few shirts, a few t-shirts and sweatshirts. I was really slumming it. Okay. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And what happened was I had no food except for the protein powder, and I had a little bit of room on one of my credit cards. I had like $30 or $40 on a credit card. So the very first day that we're there, the first night, was our event. And I was hoping that they had like water at the event and like some of those little like breath mints and candies, because I felt like I needed a breath mint. And so I had my protein powder and my shaker cup. And I had a bag full of protein, so I filled up a shaker cup, went to the event early to go see if I can hook up with a pitcher of water and drink some of my own protein powder and then have a little red and white candy mint. And that was my dinner that night. And until we went out to eat late night, I didn't put any money on my credit card. So I went to the first night of the event. That was a Friday night. It was like 4 hours. I saw people going up on stage and getting checks. I saw people that were telling stories about, where they were when they were just getting started, and that's where I was. And so I was just so inspired by what was going on, and I knew that was where I was supposed to be. Well, all weekend long, I dodged all the meals. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to sit down with my sponsor because he was sitting with a lot of successful people, and I didn't have any money to buy, my own lunch, and I didn't want to ask them to buy me lunch. So I would go in, I would make my protein drink in the restaurant, I would sit with them, and then I would disappear, and what I would do is I'd go find the server station where they had like plates and napkins and silverware, and I would get a plate, and I would go steal lettuce and tomatoes from the salad bar, and I would I got mayonnaise and ketchup for some salad dressing, and I had my protein shake, and I had my vegetables and my salad from the salad bar, and that's what I did at my very first event. I knocked on my sponsor's door at about 4 o'clock in the morning that night because the hotel security kicked me out of the lobby. And after everybody was networking and hanging out and everyone went up to their rooms, I was on the sofa. I was sleeping on the hotel sofa. And the security guard asked me to leave the hotel, and he said, if you don't have a room here, you've got to leave. I said, well, I have a room, and I knew my sponsor's room. So he followed me up. I knocked on the door at 4 in the morning and woke up my sponsors, Joe and Hillary, and I slept on their floor with my duffel bag as my pillow and my sweatshirt as a blanket. And that's what I did for 3 nights at my very first live event. I stole lettuce and tomatoes, and I drank protein powder that I brought on my own, and I lost probably 10 pounds while I was there. But I will tell you, the fact that I did that was probably the most important decision I had ever made for my career, because I saw firsthand what it was like to be successful. I saw and met people that inspired me. I heard stories of despair and people that were living in poverty like that, constantly, right, struggling to pay their bills. And it taught me some tremendous lessons about doing whatever it takes to be successful. And it taught me some tremendous, personal fortitude. It taught me about my own personal fortitude, that I knew if I didn't go to that event, that my life would have taken a completely different course. And the fact that I went when I shouldn't have gone, my parents thought I was crazy, my girlfriend thought I was nuts, and people will tell you all the time, be careful, don't take too big of a risk. Let me tell you something. If you have clothing on your back and you have access to fresh, clean drinking water, there is no reason why you can't do what I did if you have to. We've had people camp out on hammocks at events for Empower Network. We have people that sleep in their cars. And you know who these people are? They're the future millionaires of Empower Network. They're the people that are going to make the most amount of money here, because the fact that they're willing to fight tooth and nail to get to an event so they can be around successful people and they can hear what's going on and stay plugged in and stay connected and be a part of a team that inspires people and lifts them up and raises them to the greatest levels of their personal development. See, here's what I understand, is that your next level of success demands a new you. And like my sponsor told me, when you don't go to the event, you're the same exact person when the event is over as when it began. And yet, we have people that live right there in Miami, and they're not even going to be at the event. And here we have people that are flying from Portugal and Spain and Brazil and Germany and Australia and New Zealand and Asia, right? All parts of different parts of Asia and Southeast Asia. We have people that are flying 100, I wouldn't say 100 hours, but there are probably some people that are flying 30, 40 hours, right, in the airport system to be at an event that lasts only 3 days. But if you play your cards right, that event is not just 3 days. It will last you a lifetime, because you too could be telling this kind of story in the next 90 days. Now remember, I was in multi-level marketing. So, we were making 5% commission on a $100 product. Here, with Empower Network, you're getting paid 100% commissions, and you have leverage, and you have some of the best products in the world to learn from and be inspired by. Whereas back then, we were selling jungle juice, we were selling weight loss, we were selling, and there's nothing wrong with these products. Okay, I use a lot of network marketing products. Matter of fact, I'm always using network marketing products because I love our industry and I support people who are not even in our business, that are in the industry, that are friends of mine that I buy stuff from, and I get from, I get people sending me stuff all the time to test out and try it out. And my point is you never have to worry about the right people getting to the event. You never have to worry about the people that are going to make it on your team, because the right people always find a way to come up with the money to get to the event. and they find a way to come up with the time to get to the event, and they find a way to get the resources that it takes to get to the event, no matter where they have to sleep, what they have to eat, and who they have to room with. The right people always get to the event. And see, each event that you go to is like getting the next digit in the combination that's going to unlock the doors to your greatest success. And so the longer you don't go to events, the more often you make excuses and procrastinate getting to the live events, well, guess what? You're prolonging your success. You're pushing your success. And if you understand the law of compounding, if you understand the magic of compounding interest, I talked about this the other night, where if you double a penny every night for 30 days, or every day for 30 days, or every night for 30 nights, right? If you double a penny, you compound a penny, right, for 30 days, right, you're going to have over $5 million. And see, when you understand that law of compounding interest and the compounding effect and how things build on each other, and the foundation is laid at the event, and every time you go to a new event, another foundation is laid, and then another event lays another foundation. And the more you go to events and you plug in at live events and connect with people who can spot your talent, right? There are some amazing up-and-coming leaders here in Empower Network that are making $3,000 to $5,000 a month, that are making $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Man, I am watching all of you guys go, and I am liking your posts, and I am commenting on your walls, and I'm following you, learning from you. I'm on your email list and coaching and supporting each and every one of you, because I know that you make a better opportunity for me and for my team and for my family and for my kids. And I know that when you do well, it's going to change everybody around you. And that's what I want to see. So if you don't have an event ticket yet, you need to buy one. Just buy it. You know what? When you buy your event ticket, I promise you, you will find a way to come up with the money. You will find a way to get there to Miami. You will find a way to get in a room. You will go to that event if you have the ticket because you made the commitment. And when you commit to something, when you've made the choice to be with us, and there's nothing going to stop you from getting to that event, I promise you that will be the hardest part of your entire business career, is doing something that most other people would find boring or uncomfortable. And if you can get yourself to an event right now when you didn't think you could, there's no reason why you can't reach whatever level of success you're looking for. All you got to do is get to the event. I promise you, you sit in that event with us for a few days, you'll find a place to sleep, you'll find food to eat, and you'll find a way to break through to your next level of success. So that being said, Dave, Justin, Tracy, I know I'm rambling, but you know what? I'm so passionate because events changed my life. I went from being over $30,000 in debt. I was eventually in $60,000, but my story started when I was in $30,000 worth of debt. I had a few $100s left to my name, right? I borrowed the money. I sold stuff. I slept on the floor with my head on a duffel bag. That was my pillow. And you know what? I can do it. Why can't you? You don't want success any less than I did. I am sure of it. So, Dave, before I go all night, you better take it away from me, man.
Yeah, hey, it's all right, man. You can go all night, and I'll listen all night. Here's what I wanted. That actually kind of sounded funny. You could go all night, and I'll take it all night, Aaron. Oh God. Hey, you know, this is what I want to do here just for a minute, and then I'm going to pass it over to Tracy Walker. And talk. I want to talk to you guys for a minute and just talk straight. First of all, I want you guys, if you haven't bought tickets to the event yet, here's what you need to do. Click on private member discount. Our events are members only. They are not for the public. And the reason we do that is because we do things at our events a little bit differently. You guys have noticed if you've gone to internet marketing events or if you've gone to attraction marketing events, they're basically hawk fest. In other words, you get up there and you hawk a product, and then once the next speaker gets up, they get up and they hawk a product. And basically, you're there for 3 days to get pitched on more stuff. And really, you never learn how to market the stuff that you have already, right? What our events are there to do is they're there to take you, your team, and your business to the next level. They're designed to help you break through. They're designed to help your team create breakthroughs, and they're designed to give you the tactical skills that you need to take your business to the next level. We're doing a lot of very different things this year's event, and we'll make sure you guys can take advantage of them. And I'm going to talk about all of it kind of as we go through tonight. I have no idea how long I'm going to talk. What I do know, though, is we've got some other people coming on. We want to make sure they get some stage time and make sure that their stories are heard. What I want you to do right now is click on the link that says Private Member Discount. Go ahead and click the link that says Private Member Discount. Should open up in a new window. You're going to need to log in with your username and password within Power Network. Obviously, you have to be a member to go to the event. It's going to be a non-disclosure event. There's not going to be videotaping allowed of the whole event. There's not going to be any of this stuff where we're not going to live broadcast this event. We decided, at least for the time being, to not do that anymore. So there's going to be no live cast of it. We're not going to be repeating some of the information that we have at that event. It's really going to be a game plan for 2014, and you want to be in on it. You want to be a part of the inner circle. This is going to be the event where it's essentially going to be the relaunch of Empower Network. We're giving this company a new birth, and we're going to lay out the game plan and the foundation for that and what direction we're going and how we're doing it in Miami. And there's nothing more powerful than being a part of something when it's starting, something when we're just telling you what the plan is and telling you direction of the vision. Based on the results that we've created on the past, you guys should be very excited about what's happening in Miami. So here's what I want you to do. Click the link that says Private Member Discount. The access code is GROW2014. That will give you a limited time discount to buy your event tickets now. Then I want you to buy your event tickets, okay, and get at least two. Get one for you, one for your spouse, so you bring your loved one there with you, and we will help transform you, and we'll help you transform what you can do with your family in 2014 when you buy your tickets and when you attend. You need to be there Friday night from 7 p.m. till 1 in the morning. You need to be there all day Saturday, and you need to be there Sunday all the way up till about 7 p.m. in the evening. Make sure that you get to Miami for those 3 days, and we are going to party. We are going to show you how to do things you've never known how to do before. And if you guys thought this last launch we did with High Tech Academy was a big deal and helped people make a lot of money, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up and a little bit of a taste of some of the information you're going to get in Miami. You ain't seen shit compared to what's happened in Miami. And I can say that with confidence, and normally I wouldn't be so just brutally blunt with you, but I'm just telling you something, guys. If you do not go to Miami, you are going to miss out big time. And I'm going to tell you that some of you are going to miss way more than you want to miss. And I'm not going to tell you anything more other than that. You need to get there for that reason. Click on Private Member Discount, and then use access code GROW2014. Something else that I want you to do. When you've made a decision to go to Miami, I want you to tell me in the comments. And go ahead, if you've already made the decision to go to Miami, you can go ahead and just tell me in the comments, I've made a decision to go to Miami. And I want you to tell me, as you're buying your event tickets, I want you to tell me, I've made a decision to go to Miami. I've made a decision to get my tickets. I've made a decision to meet you there in Miami because I want to learn these strategies, right? I want to learn how to do the things that you're going to teach us to do. I want to learn what direction the company's going in 2014. I want to participate in the private small group workshops that we're having in Miami. We're going to teach you tactical skills like how to make videos. We're going to teach you traffic skills. We're going to teach you mentoring skills. We're going to teach you the nuts and bolts, building blocks of how to build a business. If you've made a decision to go to Miami, I want to know that you've made a decision to go. So Grow 2014, click Private Member Discount right now. Go ahead and click it now, Private Member Discount. Grow 2014, log in with your new username and password, and as we're talking, go ahead and complete your purchase for your Miami event tickets. And as you're doing that, go ahead and listen to Tracy Walker speak. Now, I want to edify her a little bit, guys. I can't emphasize enough the level of passion and leadership that's been exuded by not just Tracy, but everybody on this panel, by Justin, by Aaron Rashkin, by Tracy Walker, the level of giving that they have for their organizations. You know, there's something, hey, congratulations on buying your tickets, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there too. Zabalina, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, congratulations on going. Wade, I'll meet you again in Miami. Claude, just make a decision to go. I don't want to hear excuses. Don Holtz, I'm going. Guillermo, I'm going. Christina, yes, for sure. Alvaro, can't wait to see you in Miami either. Hey, Jay, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Miami too. He drove like a car full of people to the last event, right? I want to know if you're making a decision that you're going to get to Miami during this month, I believe the 23rd through the 25th, no matter what it takes. That you're not going to take excuses from yourself, just like you're not going to take excuses from your team. that you're going to make a decision to go because you love your family enough to make the commitments that you need to make for your own financial future, for your own success. And because of that, you're making a decision that you're going to be there with us in Miami. Have a ticket, made a decision to come to Miami. Gene, congratulations. Justin, man, I love Earth too, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Miami and just seeing you ninja kick something. Ron Bray, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Miami. Joe, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Miami. Right? Tracy is equal power. So as Tracy's talking, I want you to complete your purchase to the Miami event. And one more thing that I want you to do, just as we're having the conversation, guys, you can share this live stream on Facebook by going to badasscontent.com, and you can mask this link and you can share it on Facebook. I want you to go find a photo on Google. Just do a Google search for Miami Beach. Download a photo of Miami Beach from somewhere. And I want you to post a photo of Miami Beach on your Facebook timeline and just tell people, I am going to be in Miami, who's with me, and have a link to this live cast. So go ahead and click the button that says private member discount right now. Click it right now, okay? And then go ahead and use Grow 2014. Buy your event tickets now. Tell us in the comments that you've made a decision to go. Then take a photo of Miami, put it up on your Facebook wall. Tell the world that you're going to be there because you want to be part of this vision. Tracy, I appreciate you. I love what you do for Empower Network. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. I want to just hear your stories about how events have transformed you, transformed your team, and really whatever it is that you want to share is cool with me while people are buying.
Well, thank you, Dave. I'm glad to be out here with Aaron and Justin. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be amongst such, wonderful marketers, idealists, visionaries. I mean, people who really push the envelope. For me, I will say that my first event happened when I was maybe about a year and a half, maybe between a year and a half in the industry, and I went to an event where it's not a company-specific event. It's an event where a lot of different people go from different companies. I won't name all that stuff, but I got there, and I had never been to an event before. I didn't know how the culture was. I didn't know what happened at the events, and I actually came across this guy, and he had on this baseball cap, and one of my other friends, I actually had been asked to be a featured author in this book, and it was my first time ever being in a book. I was a published author, and so I wanted to sell some of my books, right? I mean, it's all I could think about was, well, can I sell some of these books? So a good friend of mine had a table at the event because he was speaking, and he let me put some of my books on his table. And then this guy walks up, really cool guy, tall, motorcycle jacket, baseball cap, very handsome, and then he goes, hey, he looks at the table, looks at the book, and he goes, hey, that looks like you on that book. Is that you? And I say, yeah, that is me. And he goes, well, how much for the book? And I say, well, it's $25. And so he goes, okay, great. He said, I want one. So he whipped out his credit card and he handed it over. Now, that was a moment where my heart stopped because I was new. I didn't even have a credit card machine. I didn't know what a merchant account was. I was all new. So I told him, I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't take your credit card. I've actually got to take cash. And he went off. He went off on me. Aaron, you know who I'm talking about. He owns this company. He's a 8-figure guy, right? A good mentor of mine now. But he went off on me about how did I expect to sell something and I had not positioned myself to receive the money, right? I hadn't positioned myself properly. And because I wasn't positioned properly, I could lose sales purely off my ignorance, right, of not knowing what to do. So this is what he said. He said, listen, I like you. I think you needed to learn this lesson. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write my credit card number on a piece of paper, and it's going to be up to you to figure out if you're going to process it or not. I'm going to trust that you do, the right thing with my information, but it's up to you. If you don't figure out how to process it, then you don't get the money, but I'm going to take this book. Right? And I'm thinking, how the hell is this man just going to take my book and give me a piece of paper with 16 numbers on it I can't even process, right? And it really shifted me at that point. It shifted me because number one, I was like, who the hell does he think he is, right? First off, I don't even know you. Secondly, just because you got on a baseball cap and you look cool in your motorcycle jacket doesn't mean you can talk to me in any kind of way. But third, I realized he was absolutely correct. So I took the piece of paper, I stuck it in my wallet, and my friend who let me put my books on his table actually processed the card for me, gave me the cash money. And when I began to walk around and ask people there, do you know who this guy was with tall with this? And they go, oh yeah, this is such and such. You don't know him? He owns this company and he makes X amount of dollars and he's the real deal and this and that. And I thought, wow, I just got balled out by a multimillionaire, right? And what an experience to have at your very first event. And I will tell you that that experience for me whooped me right into shape right from the get-go. It helped me to realize that people who are successful are positioned for success. Right? And if you are going to be in this marketplace, and if you are going to deliver value of any kind, and if you are going to do it in exchange during a financial transaction because you believe that what you have has a value to it and it's worth something to others, they deserve to have it, and it's worthy of in a financial exchange, then you have to be positioned properly. And I tell you, that has been a lesson that over the past 5 years since getting online, I've never ever forgotten, and I carry it with me everywhere I go. I always try to make sure that when I go places that I help people be positioned for success. So I love events because it gives me an opportunity to interact with other people that may be starting out just like I was a few years ago in this industry. I wasn't new to entrepreneurship because I was coming from a real estate investment background, but I was new to home-based business. I didn't know the jargon. I didn't know the culture. I didn't know anything about how to process my own payments. I didn't know anything about having my own products and services. I didn't know anything about really being an affiliate or how to sell things on the internet or any of that. And I had to learn from scratch. And could you imagine an 8-figure earner walking up to you telling you they're just gonna, you ought to be ashamed of yourself because you don't have a credit card machine? So that learning lesson is something that I only got because I went to the event. Right, I could have been light years behind had I not attended that. And I just want to say to those of you that may be on the fence, or because there really is no fence, but that's the cliche, that's the terminology. If you're sitting on the fence, you're sitting between, well, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Really the question you should be asking you is, what do I stand to gain by not going? Right? How much do I really stand to lose by not going? You know what I'm saying? And when you can look at things like I'm gonna end up being worse off by not going, as opposed to, well, I can't really get there, or I don't have the money to do it, or I don't have all of the resources, or I may have to ask for help, or I may need to sleep in a car, or lay in a hallway or on somebody's floor, because of your willingness to do what you need to do and move forward. That in itself helps to position you for success. So I would just say to you, do whatever that it is you need to do to get there. This is the Freedom Event. And I've been to every single Empower Network event since day one. I've been to Atlanta. I went to San Diego. I went to Austin. I was in Chicago. I was in Denver. I was in D.C. and I was in Orlando. And now we're coming up on Miami. I've been to all the leadership events. We've been to Miami. We've been several times. We've been to Miami, right, guys? Seems like I knew that the event was going to be happening in Miami really soon, because every leadership event has been in Miami lately. I've been to Costa Rica, right? So me and some of my team members, we've been to Jamaica. We've done masterminds here in Atlanta. We've done masterminds other places. I've been to every single event, not just Empower Network-wise, but my team-wise. Why? Because it's just something about being around the people that stimulate your mind, right? There's just something about being in an environment where you have the opportunity to learn from any of the people sitting there, because it's not about how much money they've made in Empower Network or what status they have in Empower Network. Most of the people that come into Empower Network that are active, that are getting to events, have great value. to bring, and being able to listen and learn and grow from any or all of these people is an opportunity that most of us don't have, because we're usually surrounded by crabs in a jar, right? We're usually surrounded by people whose ultimate goal is to just keep you where they are, because they feel more comfortable if they had company hanging out in mediocre land, as opposed to being stretched a little bit into excellence land, right? Into phenomenal land, into just greatness land. And Empower Network is that type of place. I can't say that when I go to the Empower Network events, I'm bored. I just can't say that. I can't say that I sit there and I wish that it's over. Now, are there times that I'm super tired, right? The answer is yes, because we go all day. I mean, Dave already said Friday night, 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. He already said all day Saturday. He already said Sunday. So the schedule and the time that we spend together is rigorous. And so you need to make sure that you're drinking your water. You need to make sure that you're staying hydrated and that you are eating properly and things of that sort. But likewise, you need to make sure that your mind is in the right place, because really this is a game of mental stamina. Right? This is a game of how long can you stay involved in something that was created to really help you overall. How long can you stay plugged into something until you get the results that you want? How long can you listen to the same people or many of the new people that are now speaking and hear them tell their stories until you realize that your story has value too? How many events can you get to, and how many parties on Saturday night can you dance with us at? How many, excursions on a Monday or all-in event or whatever it is, how many of those can you actually sustain in your life until you get where you want to go? And the answer should be until you get there. The answer should be until it get there. There shouldn't be a number. There shouldn't be, oh, I'll give this a year. Oh, I'll give this 6 months. Your answer to that is until I reach my goals and until I reach my dreams. And Empower Network is really about helping people to step into their vision. I mean, more than anything else, that's what I see from people. I see them actually connecting with their dreams. I see them actually grabbing hold of what they believe they can do. I've seen people cry. I've seen Dave, I mean, we know the story. Dave paid for a young lady and she happened to be on our team who had the eye surgery, right, where now she can see. I mean, Empower is a place that literally can change your life. For some people, it can be physical, but for most of us, it can be emotional and spiritual. Many of us, it's mental, right? But it's such a wonderful place to be, where no matter what you're looking to change or enhance in your life, you can get it here. You won't necessarily pick up on it so much maybe on a hangout like this. Maybe you can feel Justin's energy a little bit, but it's so much different when you're there, right? And the posture and the energy that people give off is so much different when you're sitting next to somebody that you never met before, and someone on that stage speaks life into them, and you see them erupt, and you catch that spirit, I would call it, and next thing you know, you're excited and you're overjoyed. You can't get that from a video. You can't get that from listening to the audios. These things are designed to help sustain you until we meet again. But it's meeting again. It's the exact meeting again that helps to rejuvenate. It helps to rejuvenate. It really injects an energy into you, where you might come to the event saying, okay, yeah, I'm an Empower Network. Yeah, woo-woo, haha. But you leave with Empower Network being inside of you. And that's a totally different thing. I've seen it happen for my dad. My father is 71 years old, and he was in San Diego. He made it to Chicago. I don't know. He didn't come to Denver, but he did come to what was it? Orlando, I believe it was. And so, listen, guys, I've seen it happen to my stepmom. My stepmom is still working, right? She's a flight attendant, and she's still working, but she schedules her time around these Empower events. I look in her face, and she has said to me, Tracy, now I know I can come off of this job. She's been a flight attendant for 20 years, and she's ready to come home. She's tired of flying around on Thanksgivings. She's tired of being away from her family on Christmases. She's tired of being away every potential holiday and this and that, and being in the airports and being in uniform and sleeping in hotels and, traveling all around for work. She's now ready to spend time with her family and travel for leisure, for fun, for relaxation. And to be able to see your parents in an environment where they feel that they can now change their lives, even, you know, as baby boomers, because stepmom is a baby boomer, even as a baby boomer, she now realizes that she can actually do something to change it, and she doesn't have to be balled and chained to that job for another 15, 20 years. It is so much of a weight lifted off of me, because my goal is to bring her home. My goal is to have my parents live their golden years without worry, without stress. It gives me a place to take people and invite people to say, look, this is the environment that we can all be a part of and grow in. It's a soil. It's a soil of cultivation. And I'm starting to get a little emotional about this, because you guys, if you've never been to an Empower Network event, you don't know. You don't know how many lives we have witnessed change. I've seen blind people. He's on Justin's team, Oli. I've seen blind people make money in this business, and they can't even freaking see the screen. And some of you guys make excuses. It's ridiculous. I've seen deaf people. Man, he's on your team too, David. You've got all the great people on your team, Justin. Look, I've seen David make money, and he can't even hear the inner circle audios like so many of us can just, for granted, we take the ability to push play and listen, right? Or we won't listen for whatever reason. I've seen people with, you know, bad legs and who needed transplants and all types of things be able to come here and actually feel and believe in their hearts that this is the place for them to build something. To build something great, to build a legacy, to build a future for their families, for their children. I mean, Justin and Dee have a little one on the way. Me and Kilo have a little one on the way. I am so grateful for Empower Network. My stepdaughter is coming. I mean, some of you guys have met my other two stepkids because they're teenagers at the other events, but the youngest one is coming this time. We're going to pull her out of school for a whole week. And you know why? Because we honestly believe that her getting this information for that week's time is of greater value than the time that she would miss in school. She doesn't even bring homework home. Like, what are they doing in school these days, right? She comes home every day. She's like, all I have to do is read my book. There's hardly no homework coming in. And so she's 11 years old. She's going to be at this event, and I'm so excited to be able to send her and bring her to a place where people that she loves are associated with other people who care about them. It's a place for children. It's a place for young adults. It's a place for, you know, middle age, or, you know, what do you call it, middle of the road, I don't know, the 30-something group like me. It's a place for the, you know, the wisdom keepers, as we call them, 55 and above. It's a place for, if you, and I don't like to say disabled, but I have a good friend, his name is Fantastic Frank, and he is differently able. Right? It's a place for people where they are differently able. This is a place for any and everyone to be. And if you believe that now, this year, at this point in time, is the time for you to make a decision to do something different, if you've just decided that you've had enough. You've had enough of the mediocrity. You've had enough of the back and forth, not really getting anywhere. If you've had enough of the robbing Peter to pay Paul, if you've had enough of, you know, just getting by and, you know, things people say like, oh, you know, I'm living, or, you know, I'm doing all right. If I complain, it wouldn't do no good. I mean, all the little cliches people say, the programming that they have, you're just sick of all that ridiculous programming, and you're ready to actually change the way you think so you can change your life and change your circumstances. Being at the Miami Freedom event is a place that you deserve to be. You need to log in. You need to get your ticket or click on the button or wherever it is, the action that you need to take. But you need to be in Miami, and you need to be there in full effect. You need to be there with a friend, a family member. You need to be there with team members if you have them. Because I will tell you this, a lady told me a long time ago, and Erin knows this young woman as well. She's a mentor of mine when I first got in. She said, listen, your income, now this is just from a financial perspective, right? I'm not saying that everything is about financial, because I just went through a whole bunch of things that weren't financial. But from a financial perspective, you're ready for change. When you can get 100 people of your team into an event, an environment where change actually takes place, your life will never be the same. And that happened for me at the Empower events. I've taken people to events before, and I've had my team at other events from other companies and this and that, but I was only able to get maybe, 20 people there or 15 people there, and that was great. But it's only been through Empower that I've had, 200, 300, 400 members of a team that we built together, sitting there, all being inspired, all being encouraged, all getting the knowledge at the same time, that then when we all 400 of us go home, guess what happens? Income skyrockets. Why? Because you're no longer having to convince or encourage or babysit at least those 400. Those 400 are good now. Right? And how much more freedom it is for you to be able, it might be a little hard to get them there, but that's part of the process. That's part. I'm pregnant right now. My skin is stretching at night. Sometimes I'm itching. It's part of the process, right? Everything is stretching, and it's uncomfortable. But I'm telling you, I know for a fact that once I have this baby, it will probably be all worth it. Right? And that's the way I feel about Empower. Once you get past that, once you get past people telling you they can't get there, but you get there anyway, and you get there and you remain solid in your vision and you remain focused on your goal, and you can allow other people to buy into that, and they trust you and they love you and they know your heart from the inside out, when you can start to assemble like minds like that together with you, that in itself, ladies and gentlemen, that in itself can help you change your life financially. So I just really encourage all of you, whoever is listening to the sound of my voice, if you have not purchased your ticket, you need to do that. You deserve to be there. This is an opportunity to be around people like David Wood and David Sharp, and Aaron Rashkin and Justin and Dee Varengia and Tony Rush and Chuck Marshall and Lawrence Tam, and all these people that you see on the leaderboards, they're just names. They're just names with a number next to them, right? Or a little green or red arrow. And it may mean nothing to you. But when you actually see that there is human flesh and there is a soul behind those names, and you get there and you realize that everybody has had struggles. I've had struggles. I've been in foreclosure. I've been in bankruptcy twice. I've had repossessions on my cars. I've been on food stamps. All of it. But guess what? At the end of the day, my focus on where I wanted to go was so much more clearer on what I did not want, which is to stay where I was. And once you realize that you are fine right where you are, it's now about what you do from this point that will catapult you forward. When you do that and you get to this event and you see, you feel the passion, the energy, the authenticity, and I'm telling you, there's something about an Empower event where you will feel it. You will feel it. And I'm telling you, as sure as my name is Tracy Walker, that you will walk out of there as a completely different person if you allow yourself to receive all that is being blessed or given to you. You are blessed in that sense. And I just can't wait to see you guys. I am taking a bus down there. Now, I will tell you, it's not a Greyhound bus, okay? It's a nice little celebrity bus with beds in it and TVs and couches and all this. But why am I taking this bus as opposed to flying like we normally do? Well, because I want my stepdaughter to go, right? I want my boyfriend's mother and stepdad to go. I want my mother and my father to go. I want to be able to help a couple of my team members where it may have been a stretch for them to pay for all of it, where they can just jump on the bus with me. And there's like 10 or 11 of us that are going to drive down from Atlanta all the way to Miami in style, having fun, playing bingo, playing taboo, playing cards, listening to music, eating food and snacks and drinks and whatever. And we're going to pull up to Miami as a family. So it may be a little bit more inconvenient. It may take us longer to get there, but it's more important that my family is there, that they see this, that they experience this. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes for me and the people that I care about to see this and know that this is a place for them. So I am going to say this one last time, and I'm going to turn it over to either Dave or over to Justin directly. Guys, you can change everything by allowing yourself to do whatever you need to do to experience what happens at an Empower Network event. It is not like any other event. I can promise you that. You're not going to be hawked from stage from every single speaker out there. There are going to be things that are of value available to you, but it is not about you spending your last dime for every single speaker. This is about you getting there and realizing that there are things available to you to help you grow. And those of you that get there, you'll understand what I mean. So with that being said, Justin, I guess I'll just turn it over to you unless Dave wants to jump in there and edify and anything like that for you. Even though I love you to death, and Justin is the man, right? He's the most recent $1 million earner inside of Empower Network, and I can't wait to rub up against him. I'm just a couple dollars away, just so you know, just a freaking couple dollars away. I am not going to be in Miami without at least crossing that mark while I'm there. That's how close I am, right? So I'm going to be there with you. I'm excited. Thanks for paving the way. Tam, good to see you jump on. So, Justin, I'll turn it over to you unless, Dave, you want to jump out there and throw a couple words in.
Right on. Yeah, I have a few things to share, and I just want to say congratulations, Tracy. Congratulations, Aaron. Congratulations, Chuck. I know there's so many leaders on the verge of crossing the $1 million mark, and sometimes I think I'm Nostradamus, but I can just predict into the future of this month, and I just see a group of people becoming millionaires, and I think it's a beautiful thing. So thanks for being you, Tracy, and really, putting your heart into the company, and we just really appreciate you. And Aaron, you're just, amazing, and Lawrence and Dave. But I just want to share a quick story of David Gadici. I call him the Jedi Cowboy. It's this awesome dude from Alabama, and you just know he's from Alabama when you watch it, because you look up, the definition of Alabama, you see a picture of David Gadici, and he's like the most funniest, coolest guy to be around. And so anyways, this guy happens to be deaf. He's been deaf for like 20 years or most of his life, and this is around the time of the Austin event. And I remember connecting with him and working with him, and he had a burning passion. You know how you just know certain people are serious? You know how Rashkin was talking about earlier, just spotting talent? I just saw greatness inside of David, even though he was at the time letting his disability, allowing it to be a disability instead of turning it into his greatest asset. But long story short, I told David, if you're serious, you need to get to the event. And, I knew he was serious, but he had no money. So, I just said, well, you got to figure out a way. And it came down to like game time, right before the event. And he tried diligently. I think he came up with a few bucks, but he just wasn't there yet. So I said, you know what? How serious are you? What are you willing to do? And he said, I'll do anything. And I'm writing him back on Facebook, and I said, really? And then he said, yeah, I'll do anything. And then he said, I'm willing to take the train from Alabama to Austin to go to this event. And I'm like, if you do that, brother, I will buy you your train tickets right this moment. David goes to that event, and I remember him getting up on stage, and here's a guy, right, who has failed his whole life in every network marketing company business op that he's been with, because his upline has always told him to do three-way calls, but he happens to be deaf, so just don't work this. He can't prospect on the phone the way we were prospecting on the phone, but he got on stage, and I asked David, I said, what's your best day inside the Empower Network? And he said, $1,000. And now I was just talking to David, we chat often on Facebook. He's created a lot of success with the information from the products thanks to the fact he went to the event and became a believer, and I believe because he was willing to do whatever it takes, because a normal average person would not be willing to take a 24-hour train to another state to attend an event, right? But he found a way. And the truth is, where there is a will, there is a way. And one more quick story. My homie Oli, who Tracy was talking about, I remember meeting him in Chicago, right? He joined like 1 week before the event. Now this guy happens to be blind, but probably has the biggest heart out of everyone I know, right? Just an incredible human being that you really have to meet, because it will change you just getting around him, the same way with getting around the leadership. And I remember seeing Oli, and I started to talk to him because he's like, Justin, I'm on your team. I'm like, wow, when did you join? He said 1 week ago. I'm like, really? And he's like, yes, I'm all in. And I'm like, wait, you mean to tell me you're all in, you're at this event, and, you know, he really cannot see. He has like a stick, and, you know, people help him, right? Assist him. And it's just so incredible to see. You know, I asked him, why'd you go all in and come to this event with only 1 week's notice? And he's like, because I believe in my dreams, and I believe in the vision of the Empower Network, and I'm just willing to listen because I know you're going to guide me in the right direction. And he said that with a smile on his face, and I'm just like, the truth of the matter is there's really never an excuse, right? I remember another homie who showed up in Costa Rica with his hammock because he didn't have money to stay with the rest of us. And he said, if I find the tree, I'll just sleep there. And then Dave Wood was kind enough to buy him, you know, 3 or 4 nights room at this beautiful resort of the Hilton Papagayo in Costa Rica. But it's just story after story. Now, what do all these different team members and what do all the leaders have in common? A burning desire. They have a passion inside of them, this burning flame that just continues to grow and become greater and bigger with bigger heart, more passion, right? More love, more light, more spirit, and they're just continuing to help more and more and more people. And just look at it from the standpoint of energy. You have all this radiating, vibrant energy of love and light, and then all you have to do is walk into that room, and then just everything starts to transform from internally, because that's the way energy works. You surround yourself around other incredible people, you become incredible, right? And Dave can share a tremendous amount of stories, because my story is the same way. Getting around Tracy, getting around Dave, getting around Aaron Rashkin, and having leaders reach out and say, you're welcome, you know, you and your wife, to fly down to our personal crib in Colorado just so we can hang out. You know, this is the type of people, these are the types of experience Pandora's box just opens. But if I didn't go to my first event in June of 2012, none of this would have manifested. I would have never got the chance to meet Dave. I would have never got a chance to know Aaron and Sophia Rashkin. I would have never got to meet Kilo and Tracy. I would have never got to meet the amazing Asian Lawrence Tan. I would have never got to meet, you know, David Sharp. I would have never got to meet Mike Hobbs. I would have never gotten to meet the Unstoppable Family, Brian and Rhonda Swan. I would have never gotten to meet George Breyer. I would have never have gotten to meet Jin Hua. I would have never been able to meet Charmaine Lightheart. I would have never been able to create all these manifestations that my wife and I have manifested if I didn't put myself at the right place at the right time with the right group of people with a vision, right, of freedom. And when I talk about freedom, I mean true freedom, spiritually, mentally, and monetarily, and owning that and stepping into the co-creator that you truly are. You're something special, and you need to get around us, and we need to get around you. So I'm excited. I'm going to pass the baton to Dave or Lawrence.
I'll take it. I'll take the baton. I'll take the pass. Right.
Yeah. I love Lawrence because he's probably the coolest guy that goes to the events, and he's just an amazing, positive spirit to be around. And you can't just help but smile when you get around Lawrence, because that's the energy he radiates of love and light. So I just love him to death. Take it away, brother.
Thank you. Hey, my name is Lawrence Tam. Welcome to this awesome hangout. I was actually on a coaching call with one of our team members, and you know, he's brand new, and I'm like, you gotta come to these events, man. I mean, I've been online since 2008, and I have never seen anything like what we do in Empower Network. And the thing is, it's something that's so magical. It's kind of like going to Disney World for the first time. As a child, I remember going as a child. My parents would have that thing where they would hold that carrot in front of you, like, "Hey, we're going to Disney World in about 6 months. Are you gonna be good? If you're not good, we're not going." And it's like that carrot. It's like your anticipation is like, you got to go. And then when you step foot on, like, just as a child, like a magical place, Empower Network's magical. Being able to go to an event and just see that many people who actually want to change their life, change their future, want to grow. I mean, it's who you are when who you associate with. And many of you are probably like this, and you've probably been in a situation where you're in a cubicle and your coworker just wants to climb the ladder but hates his job. And you're like, I don't understand that. But when you go to Empower Now, everyone's like, hey, I'm brand new, or hey, I've been in here for 2 years. How can I help you? How can I serve you? And that's the kind of crazy thing that I don't think you experience anywhere else. And you learn so much. Come to an event, you learn so much. I mean, many of you are probably watching this hangout and like, man, this is a really cool hangout. I've been learning a lot. But what do they talk about afterwards? Like, what do they talk about behind closed doors? That's the stuff you get at an event. It's like, off the record, deep and dirty. It's kind of like, this is something I wouldn't say on a hangout, but, I actually started doing this and this, and you're like, whoa, wait, let me grab my phone real quick and let me take some notes. It's like the crazy stuff that is never really published online because it's like cutting edge, maybe traffic, or maybe it's a different book that they've read, or people just open up, and you get that thing where you come to an event and you're like, I can't believe you're real. And it's like we're all family members here, and we all are family, strong family ties. I mean, we all have kids, we're all real people, and we want to show you the deep roots of what it is, but you got to experience it. Plane, trains, automobile, I would say by boat. If you can get there by boat, get there by boat. And if you don't want to change your life, and if you're happy where you are, you're probably going to be there for the rest of your life until, of course, they lay you off. Like, I've been laid off twice in 12 years, right? And I just talked to this guy. He has 2 jobs. One job, he's a teacher. A second job, he took at night because, he's got a newborn child and he wants a better life. And that's the person you'll meet at events, someone who's hungry and driven, not someone who's like, I want free health care, I want free money, I want a free roof, I deserve more. I mean, do you want to be associated with that type of mindset, or do you want to be the abundance mindset? It's like, I want to give. I want to be able to build some water wells. I want to be able to give you the chance to change your life. I want to be able to give you enough money to build your church. I want to be able to give you the belief that you were sent here for a purpose. But a lot of times we don't get the message. And that message, I'm telling you, a lot of times could be at the event. Why? You're focused. You're not watching TV, watching a hangout. You're not on your phone and playing with some Candy Crush game instead of focusing on where you want to be. You're not being distracted by your boss. You're not having distractions with mowing the lawn. You're not having to worry about bills. You're at an event. You're safe. We're family. We're here to help you grow. We just want to see you have a miraculous 2014. The cool thing is, if you want to have a great 2014, you start early in 2014. Don't be the person who wants a ridiculously awesome 2014, in August. You should be building now. You should be going and doing whatever it takes, planes, trains, automobiles, carpooling, whatever it takes, Greyhound, Amtrak. You do what it takes, sleeping on the floor, sleeping in the car. You do what it takes, because you know what? If you want change, you got to be able to put the time and effort to have that change. It just doesn't come because you're in a bad situation. No, you get out of that situation. You actually take massive action. And that's it for me. I can't flippin' wait to come to Miami. I'm stoked. I'm excited. I'm going to hand it back off. Who's next? Who wants the ball?
Hey, I'm just gonna pop on for a second. And I've been like online gathering up some just random people that aren't normally on Hangouts and things. So we'll see if a couple of them can pop on. The one thing that I just wanted to say, guys, is I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you down there. I've seen some really interesting things happen in Empowers. Empower has kind of progressed and turned into something that was bigger than I think any of us saw in the beginning, but isn't nearly how big we're destined to be. I've seen some really interesting things happen in here. The story about Dave getting up on stage, not being able to hear, and somehow not being able to hear, finding a way to make $1,000 in a day and not just that, but also, I mean, he's just like gone and turned a consistent success in Empower Network for a long time now. You know, that story, I mean, Marisol Dennis with, you know, getting enough money to pay for cancer treatments. You know, Toby and Layla making, you know, building up a business and an income, and then they take off for a year. And it's still paying for their whole life, you know. You know, some of the stories we created with Lawrence and Tracy and myself and other people around. I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys in Miami. If you're going to Miami, I want you to tell us in the comments and tell us that you've decided to go. This is a special time. We've got, I believe, less than 10 days until the event starts. It's next weekend, and so we've got actually about 10 days. So we've got Friday next weekend. We're going to be gathering down there. And if it's the last minute, and if you've got to fly across the country, there's nothing better that you could do. You know, Justin tells his story about how he transformed in an event. I've seen story after story after story of people transforming at events that that I don't think that I ever thought I would see 2 years ago. You know, when we started this company, something that I thought we would create on a small scale that I never knew we would create on the scale we created on was the little success that we have in Power Network. You know, we went out in our first event in Atlanta, Georgia, and that event was the first time we did the commission countdown where we all got up there and we said who in here has earned a commission. We were expecting like half the room or a third of the room to stand up by the time we got down to the last commission anybody had earned. What we were not expecting is we were not at all expecting 95% of the room to be standing when we got down to who's earned a commission in Power Network. This is something special, and I believe that 2014 we're going to do some really, really, really interesting things. Just real quick, and then I brought Jordan out. There's a couple of other people I invited out, and then we're going to go around and get some thoughts. I wanted to tell you all about some of the things that we're doing in Miami that are different. And by the way, if you haven't bought your tickets yet, you can click on private member discount. I would also email your team and email them this discount. It's going to expire, I believe, tomorrow at either noon or midnight Eastern. I'm going to have to check because I don't know. But it's GROW 2014 is the discount code. If you click private member discount, you log in with your username and your password, and then you use GROW 2014, GROW 2014. You can buy tickets to that link. A couple of things that we're doing different this year that I want to talk about, and then I want to talk about what's going to happen if you go and what you're going to get out of it. And I also want to talk about what you're going to miss if you don't go, and I'm going to bring Jordan out because I noticed that he popped on. But one of the things that we're doing here, let me just pull up the list of them actually, is we've got a series of workshops. We've had some feedback at some of our last events where some of the community has come back and they've said, you know, we really want more. In addition to what we've got here and the breakthroughs that we've got, we really, really, really want to get our hands on some raw, tactical, how-to information from up-and-coming leaders and also leaders that have built huge organizations. And so what we did was we decided to change Saturday morning in the event rather than just doing one gigantic ballroom type thing. We decided to split it up into workshop rooms. And so Saturday morning, we're going to have, I think, about 20 workshops going on, and I wanted to read off some of the titles to them. And this is just non-disclosure stuff that we're not going to be sharing. We're not going to be publishing in recordings. We're not going to be live streaming. And so if you don't go, you're going to miss it. We've got Silvio Fortunato, who's one of Aaron Rashkin's leaders that actually has one of the he probably has the biggest international team in Empower Network. He's going to be doing a seminar on networking magic. Lawrence Tam, he's going to be doing a seminar on 4 Walls to Freedom, talking about what he really did to go from a cubicle, right, to a mansion, really. I mean, that's the way that I see it, you know, call it what it is. You know, I kind of see Lawrence Tam, actually, his story. It's like he went from a cubicle, he went from being Dilbert to being Richie Rich or something like that. I mean, he just kind of like transformed over a little bit of time. We've got Creating Financial Freedom with John Pentherby. A lot of you guys don't know him, but he's a 21-year-old kid who actually turned 21 at one of our events, and the amount of money that he's making at Empower Network at 21 years old, and literally all he's doing is a little YouTube marketing formula, is just astounding. So John Penworthy is going to be coming up and doing a seminar on what he does and how he does it. Hold on a second, I'm going to keep reading some of these off. We've got Aaron Rashkin doing a seminar on health and wealth. We've got Tony Rush doing a seminar on how to build your story. Michelangelo Lopez, who a lot of you guys heard on the Monday call, he's going to be doing a seminar on how to get more than 2 people a day into your business, and he's actually doing that, so he's going to be teaching a seminar on how to do it. Aaron Rashkin's going to be doing a seminar on understanding your market and how to sell and how to market to them. Nicole Cooper's going to be doing a seminar on how to build as a family, how to balance your relationship while building a business. You know, a lot of people have come to us and they've said, you know, how do you really do this as a family? You know, sometimes you build a business and like one person in the family gets jealous and goes crazy or something like that because of the success of another person. How do you balance the relationship? How do you keep your relationship strong while you're building a business, right? Nicole Cooper's just like an amazing example of that. Her whole family comes to events. They work on their business together, and they're going to be teaching you how it is that they do that. Tracy Walker is going to be doing more of a mindset training. Are you ready for success? And once again, one of the best people in the world for doing that. There's another group doing a seminar, and there's like a big group of people. I think it's Chris and Susan Beasley and a team. They're going to be doing a seminar about international growth. And that's just it. We've got Vic. He's going to be doing a seminar on traffic secrets. Those are just like some of the titles of the workshops that we're doing just on Saturday morning. And so what we're going to be allowing you guys to do is just kind of select where you go and who you choose to kind of hang out with and what you need to learn in your business. And my encouragement actually at the event to you is to find somebody who is more like you and learn how to market a little bit like them. Go to their seminar, go to their workshop, and learn what they know, and find somebody that you can model. One thing I learned a long time ago, you know, they used to say that success is a perfect duplicatable formula. Well, that's true. There's also a problem in trying to get everybody to be one kind of a person. You know, not everybody can market the same exact way Aaron Rashkin markets because their mind is built a little bit differently. Not everybody can market the same way I market, because your mind is built a little bit differently. Not everybody's going to be like Justin Berenci. Not everybody's going to be like Tony Rush. The best thing that you can do is find somebody that models that you can model their attributes, or you're a lot like them. Find out how they market and learn to market like them. And so what we've done with this event is we've made it so basically every personality style and every demographic class of people is going to be reached out to in one of those seminar rooms where we're going to show you nuts and bolts. These are not, by the way, pitch seminar rooms. There's going to be nothing sold in them, right? This is just going to be nuts and bolts training on how to build your business. Because my goal in 2014 is really simple. I want Empower Network to pay $150 million in commissions in 2014, right? I want to pay out $150 million in commissions in 2014. I believe we can do it. I believe that we can do it from what we're going to do and what we're going to teach in Miami. Also, there's going to be some other things that are happening in Miami. I'm not going to give too much information away, but here's what I'm going to tell you. You know, a lot of people have come at us in Empower Network, and you know, we've got Vic Strizhouse, who he came into Empower and did things that nobody had ever done before. Where he's come in his first year in Empower, he earned over $3 million in commissions. Now, obviously, guys, don't take anything I say as promising you're going to do what Vic does. Vic has experience. He had a big list. He knew what he was doing when he came on board. He decided to dedicate his vision solely here and work with us. But a lot of you have been wondering, how does Vic generate traffic? How does Vic really build his business and position himself the way that he positions himself? How does he really do that? And a lot of people have come in and said, hey, I really want to learn how to do what he does so I can take my business, even if it's a smaller business than Vic has, and I can take my business and grow to the next level, right? Real quick, if you guys want to know in the comments, if you guys are excited about learning how Vic actually went and he made $3 million his first year at Empower Network, just go ahead and tell me, yes, I want to know how he did what he did in the comments, and I'll continue on for a minute. Another thing is, we had our CEO fly all over the country over the course of the last couple of months and meet with the top leaders that we have in Empower Network and to really get to know them and get into their mind and say, what is it that you want from this company? What direction would you really like to see us moving? What products would you really like to see us releasing? What is it that's important to you about the vision here and what makes it function? One of the things, and I love this story just because it's a great story, Jonathan, who's our CEO, he went out and he met with Lawrence Tam and he asked him, what do you want out of this company? What Lawrence said is, I want what Vic wants. Because he's the smartest one of us. And so a lot of people have been wondering how we do that. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you guys. If you want to know what we're going to do in Miami, you got to go. And if you don't go to Miami, right, if you don't go to Miami, you are going to be missing out on how we're going to do what I just told you I want to do in 2014. You're going to be missing it. So here's what I want you to do. Click on private member discount right now. Use Grow 2014 to get access to event tickets and buy your event tickets to Miami right now. And after you've bought your event tickets, I want you to tell us, yes, I've bought my event tickets. I'm excited to learn what Empower Network has to share. I'm excited to attend the workshops in Miami. The other thing that you should do when you're coming to Miami, this is one of the things I've been teaching for a long time. There's barely anybody that does it, right? A lot of people sort of do it, but not really. People don't really do it. Right, a lot of people wonder, how is it that I really break through in my business? They wonder, how is it that I really get to the next level in my business? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Social proof is how you do it, right? Now, a lot of you guys on the live stream who are on the board here, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of you guys who are not on the live stream, you don't know what I'm talking about. You say, what's social proof? Social proof is an unconscious mechanism that's in people's minds that when enough people rally around an idea, a lot of the resistance in your mind to the idea automatically turns off. It is an unconscious automatic behavior that's built into our DNA. For example, let me actually give you guys an example of social proof. We're going to do that. We did this exercise a little bit ago. We're going to do it again. If you have made money by doing what we teach you to do at Empower Network. In other words, if you have gotten into Empower Network, you have applied what we taught you to do, and you have made money by applying what we've taught you to do. If you have made money by applying what we've taught you to do at Empower Network, and it has changed your life financially, I want you to write yes, and I want you to tell us yes in the comments, and I want you to tell us that yes, I've made money by applying this information. Yes, I've made money in Empower Network. And I want you to just tell us in the comments on the page. If you're not logged into the comments, just click the Facebook login button now and start writing into the comments. And so tell us if you have made money by doing what we've told you to do, and go ahead and just speak to us right now in the comments and just tell us that, right? What's going to happen as you guys are seeing this, you guys are going to see people over $11,000 this week. Really, Keala? Dude, over $11,000 this week. I just did a Google Hangout with him earlier on in the week. That, by the way, he's on. I invited him on. That changed your life a little bit, Keala? You know what I'm saying? You just bought 2 tickets now. Steven, you've made money. Look, guys, congrats, Keala. Bobby Lester, yes, 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 you've made money. Wade, you've made money. Jay Hyatt, made money. Al, you've made money. Elena, yeah, you've made a lot of money, Elena. Thomas Bowman, you've made money. Thomas, good to see you on here, man. Looking forward to seeing you in Miami. Dave, you've made money. 60,000 and change, what, 5,000 for this week? Juanita, congratulations, over $195,000. Ed Przybowski, Justin Berengia, yes, he's made over $1 million, right? Walt Moore, made money. Ella Klassen, $4,000 day yesterday, blessing. Hey, Ella, it's a blessing having you in Empower Network. Congratulations on being here. Now, look what's happening as we're talking and as these people are sharing these stories. These are real stories, and all of you know it. And so the people on this webinar who were, a minute ago, resisting what we're saying, all of a sudden they're not resisting it anymore. All of a sudden they're saying, oh, wow, this actually works because there's so many people demonstrating the success of what we're doing. That's what social proof is. And when you get around people who have success and you're just simply associated with them and people see you associated with them, that's literally all it takes to turn off the filtration system in somebody's mind where they say, does this really work? Because they're seeing you with enough successful people. How is it that you can portray yourself in a way to where you can tell the truth and you can be honest, yet you can surround yourself with enough people to where people look at you and they say, I'm willing to look at this person on an automatic unconscious decision? You get social proof, and you can do that through videos and photos, guys. And I would say more videos than anything. You guys need to be taking an iPhone, a smartphone, a camera, and getting as many videos as you can possibly get over a 3-day period of time and putting them on Facebook, putting them on YouTube, putting them on your Empower Network blogs, syndicating the snot out of them, where you're surrounded with everybody you can find in Empower Network that has earned a commission and asking them how they did that. When you are associated with success, the unconscious filtration system people have where they automatically put up walls vanishes and disappears, and recruiting and selling become effortless. This is the way where you cross over that line, and you can only do that. There is no way to do that like you can do it when you get around our live events and when you get around people. So click the button that says private member discount right now and buy at least 2 tickets to the Miami event, and go ahead and tell me in the comments when you bought your tickets to the event. Anna, $1,604 a day. By the way, guys, one more announcement. In 1 hour, so at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, the price of High Ticket Academy is increasing from $197 to $297. So also, in addition to buying your tickets, hit the Activate High Ticket Academy right now. Buy your tickets to High Ticket Academy before the price goes up by $100. If you've made money from getting commissions by selling High Ticket Academy, tell us that you've made money in the comments and tell us what you think the course is worth. The price is going up in 42 minutes. The price is going up on that product. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to pass the ball around a little bit. As you guys are buying, I want you to tell us that you're buying tickets to the event, and we're going to pass it around. So who I'm going to bring out next is actually Kayala. Kayala, you on, buddy?
Yeah, I'm on, man. What's up? How's it going? Can you hear me?
Hello? I can't hear him. Wait, hold on. Hello?
Hold on, let me...
Okay, I'm going to wait to bring him on. Who I'm going to bring on next is Jordan.
I can hear him.
Oh, wait. You can hear him?
I can hear him.
Can anybody else hear him?
Yep.
Yeah,
Can you hear him?
I can hear me.
Jordan?
I can hear me.
I can hear me.
Wait, I heard somebody say I can hear me. You can hear him, Lawrence? I can hear you. What the hell?
I can hear Kiala. He's definitely on for me.
You can hear Kayala. Hold on a second here. That's the weirdest thing ever. I don't know why I can't hear him.
It's like selective.
Hold on, let me mute him and then unmute him. Mute. And then unmute. Oh, I muted you. Can you unmute yourself, Kayala, real quick? I just want to see if I bring you out. And if I can't hear you, if everybody else can hear him? Can you hear him right now still, Lawrence?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear Kiala.
Okay, well, I'm going to let Kayala talk, and Lawrence, you're going to need to tell me when he's done talking, because I can't hear him for some reason. So that's the weirdest thing ever. But Kayala, just this last week, had a big breakthrough week, and I just did a live stream with him, and he has some stories about going to the events and stuff. And Kayala, if you could just come on and share your event story, how events have changed your life, and why people should go, that'd be great. Over to you, buddy. And I can't hear you, so Lawrence, just like maybe pass it to the next person after he's done, and I'll just kind of stand out of the way here.
Hey guys, so I hope you guys can hear me, and yeah, you know, I feel like I have a great story to tell you about the events. You know, I really stress it out to my team, the importance of getting to the events, because it's really the event for me that totally transformed my life. It totally changed everything for me. When I first went to my first event, it was the 2012 event in San Diego. It was the Fight the Forces of Evil event in San Diego, and I was kind of like this guy, you know, who I was working in a coffee shop at the time, man, making barely over minimum wage at the time, really struggling financially. And actually, the reason that I went to the event was because of a Monday night call that I heard with Justin.
I hope you guys can hear me, and yeah, you know, I feel like I have a great story to tell you about the event, you know.
Now I'm getting
an
echo from you, Dave.
The importance of getting to the events, because it's really the event for me that totally transformed my life.
All right, well, I'm going to keep talking, and hopefully you guys can still hear me.
When I first went to my first event,
we're getting some feedback from Dave Wood here.
In San Diego.
But anyway, the reason that I went to the event was
kind of like this guy,
you know, I heard with Justin.
I was working at a coffee shop at the time, man, making barely over minimum wage at the time. Really struggling financially. And actually, the reason that I went to the event was because of a Monday night call that I heard with
If anybody can mute Dave Wood, that would be awesome. Anyway, all right, guys. So it looks like it's calmed down. So anyway, yeah, I went to this Monday. I was like, barely eking by financially, and I decided to pull it together and make it to the event because of a Monday night call that I heard with Justin Varengia. And Justin was talking about, he had been stuck at like 4,000 or 5,000 a month online, never really made more than that. I saw some videos of him at the Atlanta event, and then the next thing I see, I think the next month he did something like 26,000 or 24,000. And so the day that I made the choice to go to the event, let me tell you this, the day that I made the choice to go to the event, I got back home, I logged into my computer, and I had $37 to my name. I had $37 in my checking account. I had no idea how I was going to make it, but I knew that I had to make it. I was kind of one of those people that when I got started, I thought, well, when this thing works, then I'll go to your stupid event, you know what I mean? And that's just kind of like the lame thinking that I had going on in my head. And then I was listening to this call with Justin Varengia, and it clicked for me, and it just said, what if I got to get to the event to make it work, And so that's when I made the decision. I went home that night. I had $37 in my checking account. I had no idea how I was going to make it happen. I went in my closet and I found a bunch of stuff that I could sell on Craigslist. And the next morning I woke up and I posted a bunch of stuff on Craigslist that I could sell, just old stuff that I had around the house. I went into my job and I went up to all the employees. I put a note on the refrigerator at the job and I said, hey, anybody who wants time off, I'll pick up any shift you want, anytime. All right, just look at my schedule, and if I'm open, I'll take it. I actually got in trouble from my manager about a week later because I was hitting overtime and I wasn't supposed to, but that's how committed I was to making it to the event. And the day that I bought my ticket, my flight to the event, the day that I bought it, I had like $6, $10 or something left in my bank account after I paid for my flight. Then I had to call around. I looked up people on Facebook that I knew in San Diego, and I just asked a few people. I was like, hey, any chance I can couch surf? I'm going to be up there in a couple weeks, and I really need a place to crash. And I was able to find a place to crash. I showed up to this event, spent about $800 getting there total with airfare and everything and a little bit of spending money, right? Went from zero to finding $800 to make it there with a little $25 blogging platform. I hadn't gotten all in. I didn't really understand what the hell was going on. And I'll tell you, the breakthrough came for me 2 hours into the event. 2 hours into the event, I'm listening to Dave Wood on stage, him and Dave Sharp, and he's talking about the struggles that Empower Network went through to get started, more specifically talking about the struggle that we went through with the merchant accounts and how the merchant accounts shut them down. And there was this point where Dave Wood just kind of looked out over the audience. He said, when you have a dream, nothing can stop it. And I had a dream. I had a dream for 8 years. I struggled as an entrepreneur, failing, just keep going, keep picking myself back up. And when Dave Wood said that moment, I'll never forget that moment in all my life because it changed everything. I could literally feel like my brain matter shifting in my head, right? It was like I've had a dream for a long time and I've let a lot of stupid things stop me. And I'm not going to do it this time. And that's when I made the decision that this time it was going to be different because I was going to be different, right? Didn't matter, it got nothing to do with the business because I decided to be a different person. I came back home. I had to borrow the money from my mom to get all in. Luckily, she agreed to that even after seeing me fail for 8 years. She agreed to that. I was able to pay her back within 30 days, and just in the last 6 or 7 days, just since I did that hangout with Dave Wood, less than a week ago, I've pulled in a little over 11,000, so it's been the biggest week in my business so far. It might be a little over 12,000. No guarantees, right? It's not, obviously throughout the disclaimer, it's not a guarantee of income for you guys. I'm not typical. Nobody on the panel is typical, but that's what's possible by going to an event. I really believe if I hadn't made it to that event, I wouldn't be sitting here on this panel right now. I wouldn't be having an $11,000 week. I wouldn't be able to take my girl out on nice dates. My life wouldn't have transformed over this past year or whatever it's been. And it's really, really I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to attend these events. It's an honor, and it's really where all the magic happens, I believe. I'll pass it over to you, LT.
I'll take it. Hey, man, it's just a pleasure seeing you grow, brother. I mean, you go to that event, I'm like, who is this cat, right? And then you just, boom. It's kind of weird, right? Like people say, things change in a moment, like that. It just changes. And you're like, that is some fairy tale, movie scripted, that don't happen. But something I can tell something shifted. Like, you just straight shifted. I didn't even know you before Empower. And once you came in, you were doing some stuff, and then you just poof. When you make that type of money, your brain gets scrambled. It just does it. And the thing is, it wasn't the money that made you take the action. It was the event that was the catalyst to taking the action to getting paid. People want to get paid to take the action, which then changes their mindset. It starts here first. But you had to make the decision, and man, once you did that in a snap, now you have the ability to give that gift to others, and that's just awesome.
You know, can I just jump in on that for a second, Lawrence? You bring up a really good point, man. I really want to share this. You know, we say all the time, you know, change happens in a moment. It happens in a moment, right? We say it all the time, and I get people all the time who are like, you know, that just doesn't sound real. You know, like my circumstances haven't changed or whatever it is. But it really does happen in just a moment. You know, I meet friends that I had a year ago, just before I got started, and they see me now. And then they look at where I was back then, and they say, wow, Callie, your life has really changed a lot over the past year. And you know what I tell those people? No, man, my life changed in a moment. It just took a year for the results to catch up.
Ooh. And can you imagine, like, if you didn't go to that event? Right? We always talk about opportunity loss, right? Oh, man. That's crazy. I want to bring out, thanks for coming on, my man. Love to have my one beer with you before I knock out and give you a hug. You're an inspiration, my man. I want to bring out the one and only Christina Munoz. Can you hear me? Or can I hear you? Not yet? Not yet?
Hey, Lawrence, can you hear me now?
Now I got you.
Yay.
This superstar is out right now, and you know, thank you for taking some time and hanging out with us. And I'm gonna just hand it to you. And what you know, the event for you was, I'm not gonna give you a story, but the event for you to getting there, I don't see many other people having excuses, and you just broke through all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand it to you and pass you the ball.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you don't know me, I live with chronic pain. Okay, my name's Christina Munoz. I live in Australia. And I've been pretty much living with chronic pain for over 13 years. And a few years ago, I made it worse. I ended up damaging my sciatic nerve and damaging my disc further. And for 2 years, I was literally housebound. I was in 24/7 nerve pain and couldn't sit, stand, or walk for any extended period of time. And that's pretty much what got me, you know, started with Empower. I couldn't do the business that I was running at that time, being on a cocktail of drugs, and needed to find a way to support my family again part-time. And your story, Lawrence, when I first saw the video, was incredibly inspirational to me, because you showed that it was possible for someone to be able to earn a 5-figure monthly income part-time, at least to me. So after I got started, I was, you know, just did everything Dave said for us to do and got into action. I was able to achieve that. And it was a few months later where, you know, it was announced that Empower was going to start having events. And Dave got in contact with me about coming maybe a little bit earlier to the event. It was the first one in Atlanta, and I couldn't go. You know, at that time, pretty much like now, I'm crippled again at the moment, but won't be for much longer. But at that time, you know, I was on a cocktail of drugs and in that sort of pain, and there's just no way I could get to the event at all. It was a challenge for me just to get to the toilet and back. So for me to get to an event, I sort of was able to witness for like an entire year, really, from Atlanta until I was actually finally able to get to my first event in Denver. Okay, so for an entire year, I was able to witness all your transformations, your transformation, Lawrence, you know, your transformation, Justin, you know, just Tracy, actually see for myself the growth all of you and so many other new leaders too had from an event to event. And, you know, for me, as I was going through it, I was so grateful that Empower enabled me to get the financial worry out of the way so I could start focusing, okay, well, what can I do to sort of deal with my condition, to sort of get myself in a position to be able to get to an event. So if you're someone that's living with chronic pain, or you know, you have some sort of physical condition, I know that when you make the decision that you are going to get to an event, it may not be an instant thing. It may not be that it will be Miami, you know. As long as you make that decision that you will get to an event, regardless of what your current circumstances are now, even if you've been told, like, I was told that it'll be totally impossible, you're never going to be able to travel, that you're going to be, housebound for the rest of your life. But if you make the decision that no, that you're going to try everything you can so that one day physically you can get to an event, it will happen. And it may take you 1 month, it may take you 3 months, it may take you 6 months. For me, it took me an entire year from the point that I made that decision, and I owed it really to getting what was called a ketamine infusion. It's a 7-day procedure in hospital, and even though I didn't think it would work at that time, I had it actually last December 2011. I thought it would just get me off all the drugs, but it actually worked in switching off the nerve pain signals, and it gave me the opportunity to learn how to sit, stand, and walk again and start rehab, so that by the time Denver came around, I was actually able to get to an event. Okay, now just so you understand, with what I live with, it's something I have to manage my entire life. Ketamine infusions don't last forever. That's why I'm sort of in bed at the moment resting, and I'm on a little bit of pain management, but not the heavy duty stuff. So I'm going back into hospital on the 28th of January for another ketamine infusion because it's totally worn off. So I'm back sort of at that crippled stage, but it's not something I have to put up with for years anymore. It's something I have to put up with for another 12 days, which is wonderful. Okay, and then I'll be able to get to events, work up to being able to get to events again. But as someone who wouldn't get to an event, in fact, I've never been to an event. My very, very, very first event was Denver. To go from being housebound, literally only having people visit me, the only time I would see people was, going in the back of a car to get to a medical appointment. Okay, so going from that, okay, to then suddenly going to Denver and being around 5,000 like-minded people, okay, getting to meet people like Lawrence and Justin and Dee and Dave and Tracy and so many people, getting to meet my team, getting to meet those names on that leaderboard, was, I don't even have words for it. I mean, it was one of the most incredible feelings of my life, really. It was almost surreal, almost like I had to pinch myself, like I was dreaming that I was even there, that I was able to manage the trip. And with me, to manage the trip, I have to go business class. So thankfully Empower was able to, I'm able to afford the flight to be able to fly business class to the States because I can't sit for that long even with a ketamine infusion. Okay, so to actually be able to be there in Denver and was just incredible. And I had a breakthrough there. I kept hearing about everybody's breakthroughs, I wondered if I would have had a breakthrough, and I did. On the Sunday afternoon, I was listening to David Wood speak, and he was talking about how some people have only known poverty, all their life, or have only known poverty for generations in their family. And that literally, as he was talking, got me falling to my knees crying. I was actually on Chuck Marshall's knee, okay, and then when I finally got myself together sitting next to Dee. And I had a breakthrough that I had a lot of that challenges. I come from a family of generations of poverty, and often I would self-sabotage any sort of high-level success I would achieve because I didn't feel I deserved to earn more than my father did, or my mother did, or my grandparents did, or anyone in my family does. So if I hadn't have attended that event, if I hadn't attended Denver and gone through everything I needed to do to get to that event, okay, I would not have had that breakthrough. And a few months before that, I was kind of stuck in my business. I was sabotaging myself, really. I think, I've earned more than I ever thought I ever would, and, I'm really happy with what I've got. If I earned this in the last 3 years, I'd be happy. So I'm just going to get fit enough for Denver, and I'm not going to worry about, going to the next level. Well, if I hadn't gone to Denver and had that breakthrough, okay, the very next month I ended up having an over 40K month again. It was my second time. That would not have happened if I had not have gone to Denver. And then, to be able to go to Orlando and actually speak in Orlando, I mean, that was incredible. And to actually spend some real time with everyone. I mean, it's the time, because I don't know about you, but if you've been online for a little while, you can be a little bit of a lone wolf. And that's certainly how I felt, okay, especially living with chronic pain. because I'd never get to any seminar, no Anthony Robbins events, no sort of events like that. I would never be able to get to that. I've always home studied, always brought courses and audios and CDs to study at home. So I've never, until I went to Denver and then Orlando, ever been around people like me, ever been around wolves like me, around my pack, so to speak. Never got a chance to actually, meet other people that think the way that I do, that are excited about marketing, who want to inspire other people, who want to learn and grow every single day, who all have ADD and obsessive compulsive and, can work for 16-hour days and then go and rest for 4 days, and just completely crazy people, but who know how to have fun and make a lot of money and help others do the same. Never been around people like that before. So to have the opportunity to be both in Denver and Orlando, to go to 2 events in 2012, and I never thought it would, has been really life-changing for me. And those memories, get me through a period like this. Okay, I have to go back into hospital, so be it. Okay, I will be able to sit again properly and everything else, hopefully after the ketamine infusion, and get to a future event. But I know that if you're in America, especially if you're in America and you live like a suburb away, or you're in the actual Miami, or you're only like a couple of states away, just get yourself there. Get yourself there. I mean, in Orlando, I'm so glad I went to Orlando. I almost didn't, because the ketamine infusion was wearing off then. It was like up and down whether I'd be able to go, but I thought, no, I have to go. My partner was having a fit. Oh, you're crazy going. What's going to happen, kind of thing. But I managed to get there with special assistance at the airports and everything, and lots of tramadol while I was there. But while I was there, I actually got to meet people who were in wheelchairs. Okay, I met a woman, her name is Catherine, and I actually feel I was meant to go to Orlando to meet her. She's been living with chronic pain for years, was a bit interested in knowing a bit more about a ketamine infusion. I got a chance to have a chat with her and talk to her, and to meet other people that were in that sort of situation, and some just came there to see me speak. And I thought, oh my God, what would have happened if I had never have went? If I had never have went and never had those conversations that I had, oh, I mean, just the thought of missing out on that and not having that happen, there is more to it than what you think, guys. There is more, the impact you can have by you being at the event, there is more to it than you think. Okay, you need to be there, because when you're there, you could have a conversation with someone that can really help them. Okay, you could say something to someone that you're sitting next to at the bar, or while you're around the fire. God, we had some fun in Orlando around the fire, didn't we, guys? For those of you there, okay? All right, you're going to have some conversations that are not only going to help you break through, but that you're going to be able to help other people break through. And really, there's no excuse. There isn't an excuse. Money is not an excuse. You can find a way to get yourself there. You can sell your CDs and everything else to get there, okay? Because at the end of the day, if you go to the event, you'll be rewarded not just back tenfold financially, but also emotionally and spiritually in every single way. So for those of you, okay, that live with chronic disabilities and chronic pain and all the rest of it, don't give up, okay? Make a decision that you're going to get to the event, okay? If it's not Miami, just make a decision that you are going to get to an event. No matter what it takes, you're going to do whatever you can to put yourself in a position to get to an event. No excuses. Work your way there, and you'll understand how I feel. Because for me, okay, I feel so grateful I was able to get 2 last year. I'm going to work up to being able to get to more every year. I may not be able to get to every single one. It's a reality, okay? But I'm going to work towards being able to be physically capable to get to more every single year as well. And if I can manage to get 2, when seriously I used to struggle to get to the toilet and back, you can too. And don't give up. Try everything you can, and just imagine yourself there, and you will get there. When you do, people will welcome you with open arms. People will welcome you with open arms, and you'll have your life changed forever. You will. That's what happened to me. So I'm going to miss you guys in Miami, but it's okay. My time will come again.
That is an awesome story. Awesome, and we're blessed to have you. I pray for you to to be able to come, and people want to hear you, and you're just a wonderful leader. I do want to update midnight tonight Eastern Standard Time. The High Ticket Academy is going up in price. I believe we have like 30 minutes or so. So if you're watching this, there is going to be a button, I think, down there that you can be able to click. And we're talking about Miami because, we're going to be merging a lot of this together. So, having the right tools for the job would be pretty important for your future for 2014. We're going to have that actual discount, especially for you. It will be going up right around right here, right below this video. You'll have a discount for Grow 2014. That is, again, Grow 2014 to get your discount right down here. I'm going ahead and bring out this Superman, Paul. Paul has a gigumongous team. I'm going to bring him out, and I'm going to try to pop off, so hopefully that'll recorrect the video. Paul, can you hear me, my man?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Mr. Lawrence Tam?
I can hear you. I'm going to give you the stage. You have the ball. You can see his giant checks, income disclaimer. Results, vary. Paul is a industry leader, and he's got a lot to share with you. So go ahead, Paul. The floor is yours.
Cool. Appreciate it. And how's everyone doing? It's I'll tell you, it's an honor to be sitting here on a panel with such amazing people, and also to be having a chance to share a little bit with everyone on the Hangout tonight. Seems that the theme tonight is events, and specifically Empower events. So what I wanted to do is share with everyone a really powerful experience that I had at one of the last Empower events. It was actually a Chicago event that happened earlier this year. But before I do, just kind of share with everyone a little bit of my story. I first got started in the home business profession back in 2005, and my goal, this was my whole goal in life, was to make $3,000 a month residual income so I could quit my job. That was it. I just wanted out of that job. I didn't want to have to ask for permission to go to the bathroom and go on vacation. And at some point, I think in everyone's business, it starts to become about more than money, right? So in the beginning, it was I just wanted to quit my job. I just wanted that $3,000 bucks. But at some point, it becomes a little bit about more than money. And I think there are different experiences that we have in our business journey that helps us to understand what we're doing on a little bit deeper level. And something happened at an event in Chicago that really changed my life forever. And basically, the story goes, I was sitting about 6 rows back. It was Friday night. David Wood was on stage, and I think he started speaking at like 9 o'clock. And he's going, and then it's 9:30, it's 10, it's 10:30, it's 11, it's 11:30, and there's like 5,000 people there, and everyone's just like, sitting on the edge of their seats, listening to everything that David Wood is teaching. And towards the end of the night, he says, now, you're all going to go back to your room, your hotel room, and you're going to have a dream tonight. And I'm sitting there, and I'm listening to this, I'm like, really? And he's like, and in this dream, you're going to discover your purpose on an even deeper level. And then he went on to talk about why some people would have a dream, talked about suggestion and different things like this. And I was just like, I wonder if I'm going to have a dream. So I go back to my hotel room that night. My wife's, there with me. We go to sleep. And the next morning, I wake up. And you ever have that experience where you wake up in the morning and you've had a dream, but you don't quite remember what the dream was? It was like that for me. I woke up and I knew I'd had a dream. I didn't know what the dream was, but I had these words floating around in my brain, and the words were, your purpose is to help people believe that better things are possible for them in their futures. And from that moment forward, I knew that a big part of my purpose in life was to help people see that better things were possible, to help people believe that they could be financially free, to help people believe that they could break free from limiting beliefs and they could step into their power. And I've had a number of experiences since that event that have really confirmed this to me, but I want to share with everyone right now a Facebook message that I got from a lady the day after Christmas, and I won't share her name, but I want to share with you the message. This is what she writes. She writes, Dear Paul, hi, my name is, and I'm not going to say your name, I'm a single mom, and and about 2.5 weeks ago, I almost committed suicide. The two things that have saved my life were you, and she mentions a conference call that I'm a part of, and Empower Network. The last 2.5 months of my life have been the worst in my life, and it accumulated in 3 devastating events that took place about a week and a half apart. I knew exactly how I was going to do it, and I had all the tools to accomplish to ending my life. I won't go into details, but what stopped me were 2 things. I'd signed up on Empower Network and was placed on this team, which led me to this call that I'm a part of. I used the last $25 in my bank account to do this. Since then, I've been listening to this call regularly. I just want to personally thank you for your light and for hosting this call. It's truly been an honor to listen to your words and wisdom over the past 2 weeks. You're an amazing person. And she goes on to talk about how she literally was going to take her life, but through the Empower Network and through coming into a little bit of my influence and some of the other leaders that I associate with, she made a decision that she was not going to do that. And she told me that she had kids, and I went on to talk to her about an experience that I had when I was a little kid where, you know, my dad left when I was 8 years old, and my mom was left to raise my sister and I. And I remember one time going in the laundry room, and my mom was just in tears, and I said, "What's wrong, Mom?" And she said, she's like, "It's just so hard, Paul." She's like, you know, maybe I should just take my life and then you guys, you know, can use the insurance money. And I remember as an 8-year-old kid looking at my mom and saying, "Mom, don't you do that." And I was able to share that experience with this lady that messaged me on Facebook, and through this experience, it's just reconfirmed to me that a big part of what Empower Network does, a big part of what these events do, a big part of what we have the ability to do as home business entrepreneurs is give people one of the greatest gifts that I think you can possibly have in life, and that is hope. Belief that something better is possible for you in your future. So if you're watching this Hangout right now, you know, wondering, should I get to the event? You know, the only question I have for you is, do you want to have hope in your life? Do you want to discover your purpose maybe on an even deeper level like I was able to do through the Empower Network event, what David Wood and the other leaders shared? Do you want to learn how to break through and really obtain financial freedom? Because I'll tell you, I struggled in the home business profession for years, company after company after company, 14 to be exact. And ever since the Empower Network came into my life, everything that they've done, the events, the products, the hangouts, the conference calls, every single thing the Empower Network does has made me more money and brought more freedom to my life. So I would say this is something you want to be a part of, and if you don't, you're crazy. Get to Miami. We'd all love to meet you there. We'd love to, you know, wrap our arms around you and hug you and get to know you and really help you see that better future and begin to take those steps forward. So that's what I got to share. Thanks for letting me come out tonight, Lawrence. Appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Always love hearing from you, man. I learn every time. That's a great story. Just love it. That's touching. I think some people in the chat right now was like, man, they're tearing up. Man, that's just, I'm in tears. That's awesome. That is awesome. We got about 15 minutes before the High Ticket Academy goes up in price. And for those of you who are fortunate enough to actually catch the first recorded webinar, we were saying it's probably that one webinar, just, you know, what we were teaching just in that is probably worth the price of admission already. So you want to be able to get that right now before the price goes up, and it's going up. And if you want to go ahead and lock in your future for 2014, come meet us in Miami, man. Go give Paul a hug. You know what I mean? Just go give him a freaking hug. And he'll look at you and be like, what? Oh yeah, the Hangout. Lauren said, just cling on him like a koala bear and just kind of hug there. Just give. He's such a warm person and a great person to learn from. And so your Miami discount tickets will be the bottom right here on the button below us. And your discount code is GROW 2014. GROW 2014. We got one more to come out. My man Jordan, I've known Jordan for a while now. Looks like we've been running, internet marketing for so long, and Jordan's just a stud. And Jordan's like this guy who travels the country and has fun and drinks a beer and makes money. It's kind of an interesting, like, how do you sign up for that? What guidance counselor goes, if you want to do what Jordan does, right? So, Jordan, my man, can you hear me?
Absolutely. Can you hear me, man?
I can hear you. I'm going to pass you the ball, and the floor is yours, my man.
Perfect. Well, Empower Network is just such an exciting place to be. It's so awesome to be here for a lot of different reasons. The money is phenomenal, not just for me. You see, in the industry before Empower Network, I was making money. I was making good enough money to not have a job for over 3 years now. But none of my team members were ever succeeding, and that was always frustrating, to constantly be making money and promising people something and then none of them ever succeeding. Well, here in the past year, our team, we've brought 8 people home from work. We've got 5-6-figure earners that have been created this year, and so it's exciting to see people in our team actually succeeding, which is what I think is so cool. But above and beyond that, some of the stuff Paul was just talking about and what everyone else talks about as well are the breakthroughs that people have here, and that's what I think is so powerful when someone comes to you and says, I didn't take my life because of what you guys do for me here, because of the family that you are to me, or there's people in our team who now feel like they deserve to be happy, they deserve to have an amazing life, and how they feel about themselves completely transforms and changes before they ever start making money sometimes, and that is what I feel so cool. Interesting story. I came to my first event about actually last January for what was that, Austin, I believe. And cool thing, I was sitting in the room at the top 200, and this lady tugs on my shirt, and I don't know who this person is, but she tugs on my shirt and she says, "Are you Jordan Schultz?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "I have got to talk to you. We can't talk right now because Dave we're just getting started, but after we're done here, we got to talk in the hallway." So after the whole thing, we go out in the hallway and I start talking to her, and she says, "It was 6 months ago, Jordan, that I was sitting, I had been in Power Network for a while, I was completely broke, didn't make any money, hadn't made any money at all, and was wondering what I should do. Should I quit the company? Should I go to this next event? I don't have the money to go to this next event." Then I was wandering around online, and I stumbled across a video where you talked about how your life transformed when you went to your first event. And I'm not going to get into all that stuff right now, because it's cool when you hear about how someone's life changes. Like, it's cool when you hear me saying how my life changed. But then this lady who says to me, she says, "Here's how my life changed. I listened to that video of you talking about what happened. I immediately made a decision. You know what? I'm broke. I don't have money, but I'm going to get to this event." And I don't remember where it was. I believe it might have been in Atlanta. She took her, I believe it was her husband's credit card. Luckily, he was on a business trip somewhere. She purchased tickets to the event. She purchased the flights, the hotels, and all that stuff without him knowing about it, and went to the event. I believe, again, it was in Atlanta. So she goes to this event, and 6 months later, she's sitting in that top 200 room as a black lanyard. For those of you that don't know what that means, she was in the top 35, I believe, earners at the time, or however it figures out. Bottom line is, her making that decision last minute on, like, literally borrowed money to get to this event and make a decision to make a change in her life completely transformed, and within 6 months she's in the top 35 in the company for that particular event. Absolutely amazing stuff going on there. So, I mean, really, quite honestly, you could just hear story after story after story about getting to live events and how powerful they are for the financial reasons, but then also it's just so cool to watch people there having those personal, those emotional breakthroughs and those spiritual breakthroughs, to where, in my opinion, the money's phenomenal. I know everyone on this panel here loves making all the money that we've been making, and I think we got to say something about the income disclosure link at the bottom because our results aren't typical. But what's really cool to me is when people decide that they can, like, be happy and start enjoying life in different ways, that money just doesn't, money is not the cause of that. It's all the other things that we learn here, all the other growth that we go through here, all the other personal and emotional breakthroughs that we go through here, based off of what Dave and then all the rest of the leaders here have put together to help people just become more powerful human beings and live a better life. So really, Empower Network is so much more to me than just the money. It's about living an amazing life. And, Lawrence, one of the cool things, too, you said I just kind of travel around the country. Last year, I went on 22 vacations. And, multiple of those vacations were 4 of those vacations were over 3 weeks long. So would I be able to do that anywhere else? It just wouldn't even be possible. In fact, the 6 years previous to me being in Empower Network, the 7 years previous, I went on maybe 4 vacations in 7 years before me coming into this industry. So then 22 in 1 year is just absolutely amazing. I could ramble on. I could talk on in circles about how powerful this place is, how awesome it is, and why you should make that decision to get to the event, and also make that decision to get the High Ticket Academy as well. I could talk about it for a long time, but I'm not going to because there's probably some other people that want to talk here as well.
That is awesome, man. Being able 22. Oh man, that is freaking awesome. Thanks for coming man. Out. That is A-okay in my book. That is like empowering you to think outside the box, that you don't have 2 weeks of vacation. You just have you can be on vacation and then come back to your house whenever you want to. That's the non-vacation. I mean, that's just great. We got 10 minutes. When the servers kick in, I know it might take a while because people are hammering right now. High Ticket Academy. This is some of the stuff that's changed like ridiculous lives. Like being able to just how do you do what we do in the mixtures of what we do. More will be revealed. Gotta watch your emails. Gotta pay close attention to what we're doing. And gotta come to the event. I mean, the event's gonna reveal a lot. And you know what we're gonna do is 10 minutes left. I want you guys to have enough time to go ahead and purchase that. We still have some tickets available on the bottom right. Go ahead for your private member discount, 2014. So it's Grow 2014. I can't wait to see your warm and happy faces. And we're gonna call it a wrap right now. We're gonna try to get Dave back in. And close it up. See, maybe he can come back in, or not. He can close it. But that's it for me, guys. Have a great 2014. Happy New Year, and let's make 2014 with the bang.